I am so happy to be here tonight. 414, what it do? Foundational Black Americans, what it do? Listen, this is Outlaw Radio, Waterway. Yes, I call the show Waterway. And you'll figure out why as we move along, why I decided to call it Waterway, But man, I'm happy to be here. My name is Kevin Barnes. I'm the host of Outlaw Radio, the militant with a microphone, a mouthpiece of the movement, aka the Negro Whisperer. Yeah, certified professional life coach, Negro Whisperer. The original Negro Whisperer. Come on, we gotta say the original, right? Remember, right. You stole my name. Stop it. Happy to be here, man. Hope y'all doing well. This was a beautiful day, man. I was just outside, birds, and you get old, you start talking to animals and shit. So I'm just hollering, talking to the rabbits. Welcome back. And it was a beautiful day. I got the witch doctor in the building, and then I'm going to introduce my esteemed guest, my brother Kamar Carter. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing out there? Welcome to Outlaw Radio, where we talk that talk and we definitely walk that walk. Raising vibrations and elevation. Y'all better come on in. I'm trying to tell you, I am the black woman lover, the black man's brother, the culture teacher, hood healer, the ghetto witch doctor. Hey, mama! See, most man! Y'all better come on in. I'm trying to tell you, if you ain't been to the House of Vitality, you better bring your ass.
Yeah, man. The switching of these seasons can be murderous on your immune system, so you need to holler at my partner expeditiously. But once again, I have a guest tonight who, like I had Vince Tony the other night. Now tonight I have another brother like that, brother in arms, back for the first time, as we say, back for the first time. And I've known this brother for a very long time, and we talk about all the time on this show about not just being the type of person who talks about it, but somebody who is actually out there putting in the work, somebody who's solution based. He ain't gonna just tell you the problem. He gonna then say, and you know what we should do? So my brother Robert Miranda, man, welcome to the show. How you doing tonight, man? Let me give you this first of all.
Hello, Kev. Thank you for the invitation. Appreciate being here with my cousins from the north side. Always happy to be here with them and enjoying the conversation and hopefully spreading a little knowledge and giving some insight to folks so that we can stay at least conscious to the oppressive nature of the enemy out there and let them know how we can fight back and how their strategies operate to try to destroy both our communities.
There we go. Now, first of all, I want to say rest in peace to Chris Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Who, before we even go forward with the conversation we're going to have tonight in terms of flak and water and understanding lead pipe laterals and lead poisoning, most of the information that I have came from Chris Johnson, because he would call me and explain it to me in great detail, right? And so, and I know just from my time with the Panthers, you all were out there. Let's start out by talking about flak. And I can never say it right. For some reason, I struggle with the word coalition. I don't know why. It's the only word that I get to it and stumble. Conjunction. Like, damn, what's wrong with me? I can't say coalition. Let's talk about flak, man. What tell the people about flak?
Well, sure. FLAC stands for Freshwater for Life Action Coalition. And the organization started, or the group started back in 2015. And as you mentioned, our brother Chris Johnson was one of the co-founders with me on this. In the group, we had dynamic people. We had King Rick. We had Vince. Yep. We have had a lot of powerful, very dynamic people who not only were courageous in the fight and moving forward to do something about this whole thing regarding the lead that was that is in the water and still is in the water today, but were instrumental in taking down the Barrett administration from 2016 until he left for Luxembourg to enjoy his Wiener Schnitzels back in 2020. And so we fought that administration very hard, and It's a group of people that are not only talented in being able to unsheathe the sword and strike a blow for justice, but it's also an intellectual body of people who have done much research and much knowledge
Much
about
listen,
lead and
much
how it affects
resource.
us. Yep.
Many I listen, much research. I remember I came to a press conference. There was an expert from Michigan who was like a professor, like he was like a PhD. And he even that's how I even got an understanding of how the lead attaches itself to the pipes. And I was like, and then it's like, well, don't drink, don't boil it. Like
Right.
it was that. So you're right, it's very intellectual, but I also want to point something else out. You said 2015.
Right.
You said 2015, correct?
2015 is when we got the group together. Yes.
And then, so this is 2025.
Exactly.
So 10 years ago, there was already voices and people who were speaking out against the lead pipe laterals and the effects that it has had on the children who have been drinking this lead poison water for years, right?
Oh,
10 years ago.
there were many voices even before we even got started, brother. I mean, there were voices in the 1990s. There were voices in the early 2000s. It's been a consistent effort to try to eradicate this toxin, this neurotoxin, from our environment with our local government. And in the 1990s, there were more whites in the Common Council than there are today,
Yeah,
and there were no black mayors,
right.
and so I'm hoping that this time around with the Common Council's makeup, we could see some real instrumental change in the effort to try to eradicate
But
and eliminate this toxin in our
haven't
communities.
haven't hasn't our elected officials already in essence fumbled the bag because we receive COVID money? We just we talk all the time about this $200 million that was generated on the backs of taxpayers,
Right.
90% of which went to pension payment plans for the city of Milwaukee, which is asinine, and that's the most gentle way I can say it.
Right.
So there's been money here. The state said they had $1 billion surplus a couple years ago,
Right.
but every administration has tried to sweep this under the rug. Now, my point is, back then, and I brought up 2015 because there was a whole different administration. There was Mayor Barrett, and they always attempted to deflect and say, well, no, it's not the pipes, it is the paint. It's the lead
Exactly.
paint.
Exactly.
And if people don't know, one of the major manufacturers of paint in terms of how it was DuPont. And so there was a very large class action lawsuit, and Milwaukee wanted parts of the lawsuit, but it was also a good way to alleviate themselves from responsibility. So our mayor now and our elected officials now, our common council, like you said, it looks different culturally, racially. It's not all white like it used to be, but neither is the city. The city is 44% black. So we got to talk
Right.
about that. So there's been nothing but the furthering of now I hear them saying they want to get back on the paint thing. And also,
Yeah.
let me say this because I want you to be heard. People say, Kev, don't be Nori. Don't overtalk the guests. But I know that this thing with the lead pipe laterals, there are plans, there are feasible plans, there's economic planning that's been executed by other places where this could have been done a long time ago. And our mayor now, he refuses to think outside of the box on anything. This is my issue with him. I know he's black, but black people can get it too when they screw up. His leadership is color paint by numbers, right? Like it's just add water. It's not innovative. It's not intuitive. It's no creative solutions. He's okay. Well, who's the paint then? So I just wanted to get, because people don't understand this lead pipe laterals. Let's talk. I want to give you a chance to elaborate on that.
Well, and look, people say lead paint, soil, and dust are the primary cause of lead poisoning, and that lead in water is about 30% of the problem, which we argue and have argued that is not backed by any scientific research, epidemiological research, any health-based research. Nothing backs any of that what they're saying. This is just like some kind of narrative that somebody in the basement pulled out the ass and decided to throw out there. Because as you mentioned, back in the day, about 10 or 15, 20 years ago, the city of Milwaukee entered into a lawsuit against the lead paint industry, and they wanted a big chunk of that money. Uh, I don't necessarily believe if they would have won that big chunk of money, they would have done the right thing with it. I think they just wanted that big chunk of money because 15, 20, almost 25 years ago, we were in the midst of building up Camelot. And what I mean by Camelot is downtown Milwaukee. And so there was a lot of need for millions and millions of dollars in order to build up the lakeshore, the downtown, the Summerfest area, establish money for creating the Deer District. There was a lot of tremendous need for millions of dollars to do all that development. And so any of that money, if they would have won it, would have not gone towards alleviating the issue of lead paint in homes in our community. They might have thrown a few bucks at it, but I can almost wager my entire pension on the fact that most of that money would have gone towards helping to build the choo-choo train tracks, helping to do all the stuff that they've been doing over the last 30 years. If you look over the last 30 years and study how the growth of downtown Milwaukee has benefited tremendously from local tax dollars. And then look at our neighborhoods and look at our MPS schools, and you will see that near one penny has really gone towards alleviating this issue of lead poisoning.
But MPS has a $1.5 billion budget. They have and we just gave them $252 million more.
Exactly.
Now, so here's the interesting thing. The city will always back up off of MPS and say, hey, we don't run that. But we just found out that they actually own the buildings.
Right. They own the buildings.
But they're the landlords.
They're the landlords. And so as landlords, they should act like landlords, right? But that isn't their plan. Okay.
No.
Look, as you're absolutely right. MPS has that huge budget, that lots of money. But MPS also has to spend a lot of money on special needs kids. That's a tremendous amount of resources going towards special needs kids.
It's true.
And MPS also has a bureaucracy it needs to cut down, and it needs to really do something about the overpriced salaries of all of the bureaucratic people that it has in that system.
In central office, let's say where the waste is. It's in central office. Because I'm all for principals getting paid, teachers getting paid, parents getting paid, engineers getting paid. But when it comes to the white lady who's had her job for 25 years at central office and don't know shit anyways, and all she do is just be at work, and she's getting $90,000 a year. And there's been increases in their payment. Like a couple years ago, they like it was about 12, 15 people in central office their salaries increased to over $115,000. There was some money that they wanted.
Right.
Just want to put that out there. Now, I hear you on special education. There is $1.5 billion.
Right.
That is more than enough to do special ed. And they could say it's costing us so much money, but you got a 50% truancy rate. So how much of it are you actually spending?
Well,
like
and we found that out when they did that state audit and found out how they messed up the finances. Now, poo-poo on us for not holding those board of directors accountable for missing all that. And, we got elections coming up again, and I hope people get out there and vote a lot of those board of directors out.
Well, they just voted in a new president of the school board last night and a new vice president.
And again, when those people come up, and they were around during that whole mess, those people come up for election, people need to start voting them out. People need to remove them. But that's on us for not doing that. The evidence is out there. The evidence shows that the MPS dollars were mishandled, misused, misplaced, and not used in the way they should have been done. In this situation now, currently with the MPS-led problem, if it wasn't for the work that we're doing with the Let's Save Schools organization, and kudos to the Let's Save Schools group, which is a group of all parents. It's all parents. They're all parents that are coming together from all the schools that have been affected so far, and they have a good dynamic leader in that Kristen Payne, who has been very instrumental in putting together a dynamic narrative, exposing a lot of the attempts by not only MPS but by the city to try to downplay and brush this under the carpet, especially when it first manifested back in January, the middle of January, when it first came up.
Right.
The city tried desperately to put it under the carpet and say, look, we got this under control. We got this all situation handled. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. But it was this group, this Let's Save Schools group, that insisted and kept pushing. And that's when we started finding out that no, this thing also was mishandled.
So from a partisan perspective, let me ask you a question, because this might have a direct effect on why the money is not disseminated as it should be, because everything, when it comes to funding of anything, it turns partisan at a certain point,
Sure.
because elected officials are on one side or the other, right? And
Right.
so I will hear a lot of conservative people and some MAGA people say this is an overreaction by the woke right. Once again, it's not that serious. Listen, we're not gonna allocate hundreds of millions of dollars. Like there's a they utilize a method to make people say, oh, well, I guess it ain't that big a deal. And they use partisan politics to do that. But when we talk about the effects of lead poisoning and we compare that to the behavior of our young people, we talk about this youth epidemic crime we have on this show all the time, this epidemic of youth crime. And we're wondering, why are they getting in cars, going on police chases at speeds of 100? He's 15. Why does he have a Glock with a switch on it, make it fully automatic and a drum on it? If you look at the effects of lead poisoning in terms of the behavior, it's known to affect cognitive functions.
Right.
This is scientifically proven, correct?
Right. There's hundreds of studies. As a matter of fact, I'm very close friends with one of the more prolific researchers on how lead affects the body. His name is Dr. Bruce Lanphier out of Simon Fraser University, and he's done research on this for almost 50 years. And he just recently, about 3 years ago, released a study that took him about 25 years to do, and that was a study that showed that lead causes heart disease and that it can impact the cardiovascular of the body after adults have been drinking this lead for many years.
Right.
It's not only about the children, but it's also harming adults. Now, but with the children, you're absolutely right. The behavioral issues, because the lead really impacts the children hardest and the quickest, because they're still developing and their blood is being circulated through their minds faster rate. They got more energy. They got more run to their body. And so the blood circulates and that lead is circulating up in that head and it's messing them up.
And
And
so
it
that's why I
causes,
say,
yep,
when it comes to, you mentioned, I'm sorry to cut you off, Robert,
yeah, go ahead.
but you mentioned we talked about special education.
Right.
Why all of a sudden are our kids autistic, ADHD, hyperactive? Like all of a sudden our children, our young people are getting documented as having mental health issues at an early age, which justifies them feeding them medication, basically what it comes
Right.
down to. And the
Right.
family kind of gets a stipend. So there's really no incentive for me to say, let me get my son out of special ed if he's bringing in $700 a month, and that's helping me kind of like balance the checkbook. That's a whole other show. I understand that, but I'm saying I believe the lead poisoning is has a direct effect on why we have so many special education students in the first place. If we're talking about pregnant mothers, young mothers who have lead poisoning themselves, then having children,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It just goes
Yeah.
on and on. So I just like I can
It's
connect.
it's a it's a it's a it's a big health industry issue. You
Yes.
know, the health industry understands lead plays a role in the health of our populations.
Mm-hmm.
And government and local governments, they all understand how lead plays a role in helping them decide in their cities how their monies are going to be allocated to cover what. In Milwaukee, the biggest amount of money that we as taxpayers pay go to the police. And but they know that lead poisoning plays a major role in violent behavior in our children, in our communities.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to reduce that, they've had now let me explain. In 1962, the city of Milwaukee banned the use of lead pipes in 1962. In 1986, the United States government banned the use of lead pipes to be used to be running water through to the house, from the water main to the house.
Mm-hmm.
They've known all this for decades,
Right.
and they've had so much time to allocate the funds needed in order to remove this, but they don't, because it's is a twofold thing, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. There's no studies that backs this, but this is my opinion. Working on this now for almost 15 years, they see it one as an economic issue that we know,
Mm-hmm.
that we know. But in my opinion, it's also a control issue. Control the community. This is a subtle way. This poison is a subtle way of controlling the community, controlling the mind of the community, controlling the children's behavior,
Mm.
continuing the perception of our people as being out of control, playing into white supremacy, continuing that agenda of,
Justifying gentrification.
exactly, to justify the gentrification, to
Right.
justify the prison
Yeah.
populations. You
Absolutely.
know, all that stuff is all part of what they're doing. And here we are sitting here, wondering who's got the best twerking motion, rather than going out there and demanding that our elected officials allocate those funds needed to remove. And it's the
You know,
easiest
we
toxin
don't
to remove
we
from our
don't
community.
we don't demand anything from our politicians, and that is we've done a whole show about the fact that, and I know we're trying to survive. I get it. I know that this whole Trump thing has created a storm of confusion for people. I know
Sure.
this. I know people are really like, I'm just trying to live. But I think people have to understand that we have more power than they think we do in terms of removing these individuals from office. Like I said, I'm black. I go to barbershops. And in the barbershop, everything is discussed. If
Right.
you know, and from women to cars to basketball to politics, right? And I hear my people in there. A lot of times I'm in there like a sponge because I want to hear what the community is saying. I don't hear people about this. I don't hear people about $200 million that was collected in 1 year.
Right.
I'm gonna say this number again. $200 million. 90% of which was already allocated to go to a pension fund for
Right.
City of Milwaukee employees. That is the biggest robbery I have seen. It's the biggest legal robbery I've seen in my lifetime. I've never seen taxpayers get duped like this before. And I've seen some doozies, as they say, but I
Yeah.
don't see people mad about it. So when our esteemed mayor runs again, who's going to be there to hold his feet to the water to say, dude, you tried to come out with skewed statistics about crime. You made excuses for everybody. You allow Willie Hines to retire from Hackham, and Hackham robbed the feds and the city. It's documented. They stole from the feds and the city, and you allowed the CEO to retire. You watched MPS be mismanaged. You said on the news, you ain't even know. You said, I'm gonna have to call Keith. We like, how, if you don't know, how you know his first name? You're on a first name basis with him. Right. So I just hope somebody's there to remind these people when it's time to vote again, and we don't just go along to get along. Now, let me get my chat room real quick, Robert. Give me a second.
Go ahead.
Dion says, what up, Outlaws? How you doing, Dion? Earl Henning said, what it do, my brothers? Milk, chocolate milk, love us. Absolutely, you better. We gotta love ourselves. Earl Henning said they just want to get that boat out of the water. Well, they got it now. They got the boat out the water, right? They got the boat out the water. Earl Henning said $9.7 billion on downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin in the last 15 years. Mark Ross, how you doing? How you doing, Mark Ross? John Fletcher said, what up, family? They're making money off the problem. The people are the product to produce more funds for the state. They never are going to try and fix it. Well, I think the people need to have something to say about that. I don't think they should be allowed to never not fix it. Okay, never not. Can I say that? I don't know. I'm playing with language tonight. But if you're just tuning in, I got Robert Miranda here for Outlaw Radio Water Weight on a Wednesday night. We're talking all things lead pipe lateral, lead poisoning, MPS debacle, and it's always how they've just fumbled over and over, and we've given them passes. So I want to go back to the finances of it. Because when I first encountered you all, you had a comprehensive plan, FLAC, meaning there was a comprehensive plan in which this could have been done efficiently and affordably. And Chris Johnson went. I didn't understand all the details, but he explained it to me.
Right.
And that was 2015.
Yeah, it was Chris Johnson, as you mentioned, prolific on finances. He knew what he was doing there. He worked at the county before. He understood the money game. He understood how this could be. And so he put a nice budget together on how the city can effectively remove these lead pipes within 15 years. Because, as you know, back then it was estimated that removing 70,000+ pipes was estimated to be running around $840 billion. I mean, not billion, 840 million. And so he put together a very nice plan. We submitted that to City Hall. Obviously, they saw it as a good plan because they never responded and they never put it down. And so, it encompassed not only looking at PIDs and TIFs as a possible idea, taxing incremental districts, taxing financing districts, and things like that, what they use now to fund development of Camelot. But it also included how we can use community block grant funds and how we could use certain other taxing funds. And it was a great plan. And it's still there in City Hall. I know it is. But they didn't want to go there because the idea here is not to really put the money towards resolving this problem.
Okay.
Now that's the bottom line. These folks are not interested in cleaning our environment, cleaning our schools. They're not. They're lying to you if they are. They're not.
Okay, so once again, there's many ways, and you mentioned CDBG money, and I remember, and maybe I'm the only one who remembers this, that there was a certain point when people were starting to question the rapid development of downtown. And at that time, Mayor Barrett had an individual, as a white man, I can't remember his name. He was like his planner. He was like the one who was in charge of development. And they admitted that they had diverted some CDBG money over to the development of downtown. And he said it. I can't remember his name. We've spoken about him on the show before. I can't remember his name right now. He retired. So he's like, okay, when people start questioning, like, okay, I'm out. But the damage had been done. And I started thinking, like, if people really knew what the intention of CDBG money is, even the way they got the train in terms of, I understand that it was an incremental tax, and it was only allocated for development of, highways, byways, infrastructure in that regard. But I don't understand how somebody couldn't have creatively written in, hey, let's do some tax incremental funds for lead pipe laterals in terms of, because we're going to need the streets replaced.
Right.
So that'll take half of that cost off of it. You know what I'm saying? They'll
Exactly.
be responsible for digging it up. We'll remove them. We'll pay to remove them. Y'all break ground, dig them up, and then put the streets back together. And but I don't know. They used it for. My question is, how many luxury high rises do we need downtown, and who's going to live there? The gentrifiers who are waiting for you to get rid of all of the people on the near north side, because downtown, let's be honest, downtown Milwaukee, that neighborhood around there has always been the hood. It's the hood. You talking about MLK, you talking about, that's the pit down there. It's
Right.
been the hood. And so, but that is the most valuable property. Check the property value of some of those houses down there. And they're steady jacking it up for the people who still holding on.
Right.
I could go
It's
on.
all. It's almost like they had a crystal ball anticipating a Trump-like person to come into the federal government, because as this person starts to destroy the economy, people are going to start moving back into the cities from those rural areas.
Okay.
And they're going to need to have space for those people.
Yeah.
And most of those people who are going to be coming back are really people who ran away back in the 60s and
Their
70s.
parents did. Their parents
Right.
did.
And those
that
those
is a
people are going
very
to come.
accurate. For those who are doubting what he's saying, it's an accurate study done that the children of baby boomers, the children of the yuppies, because we go from baby boomers to yuppies, those children, those millennials, don't want to live suburban. They love urban. They want to be able to sit on the sidewalk in front of tea and drink latte in front of little coffee shops and act like they own friends. That's true.
Right.
They don't want to live in Brookfield. They don't want to live in the subdivision with one sump pump.
Right. They want to come back to the city, and with the economy as we see what's going on, as the economy over the next year or two starts to continue to deteriorate, the cost of living outside of the city is going to get more expensive.
That's right.
So what do? You come back into the city where at least the cost of living is not going to be as expensive. The driving isn't going to be as expensive. All that other stuff that goes on in the suburbs is not. It's not going to be as expensive in the city,
Yes.
because you have a larger pool of taxpayers.
Well,
Go
let's
ahead.
be honest. If you live on the near north side, you're right by the expressway.
Exactly.
10 minutes from the lake. You're
Yep.
5 minutes from downtown, the Calatrava, and the new the
biggest place for celebrating the Summerfest grounds.
the
Yeah.
lakefront.
And one of the greatest places for the motorcyclists, the Harley Museum.
That's right.
You know, they are setting it all up very nicely so that as the economy continues to deteriorate, those of us who are not able to afford life in the city because the economy is going down are going to
Right.
be saying, well, we got to go somewhere else. And those folks are going to be coming from the suburbs and everything to take over because they have the money to live in the city in a very bad economy.
And you know the flip side of that is they will build affordable housing. If you look right now,
Yep.
in all of the suburbs, even though the people don't want it because they know what it means, they're building affordable housing, kind of like mini projects.
Right.
That's why I'm kind of side-eyed. I seen my brother
subdivisions. Yes.
I seen him shaking hands because they said we're gonna build an affordable housing project in Wauwatosa, and I was like, Wauwatosa? You gonna be like what? You gonna put black people? Like I'm starting to say, well, okay, so you're planning on relocation, and once they put those people, like I said, they'll be the new projects,
Right.
and they'll all be bunched together once again. All you basically did was move the ghetto so that you can be closer to the resources. I don't, and that's
exactly.
That is one of my biggest issues with our mayors, that even once I think there was a crime. What happened? There was a large riot downtown when he first got in office, and he put a curfew on downtown. I was like, look, so the rats can't be out after a certain time. The shit was going totally crazy around downtown. He had a curfew on downtown. That means we don't want y'all down there fucking up the good shit.
Let's not forget, they already have a plan on how to cordon off all of downtown Milwaukee when the RNC came to Milwaukee.
Showed us, didn't they?
So they went ahead and put their whole security apparatus plan to a test when the RNC came here. And now they have a plan in place to, if they got to close off Milwaukee, they already have a plan in place on how to be able to do that quickly.
Don't
And
touch
so, and they tested it, and it showed where the weak links are, and it showed where the strengths are, and they tweaked it, and now they have themselves a plan ready to go if they got to shut down Milwaukee.
It's crazy. It's a crazy time. And once again, I think one of the things we say on the show all the time is we give away more power than what's taken from us.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
We're giving away too much of our power, and people ask me sometimes, why do we do that? And I say to folks, I say, look, we have to get into the mindset of doing our own research, our own studies, our own individual woke up knowledgeable studies. When you see something that kinds of sounds a little funny and doesn't ring right with you, look it up.
Look it up. There you go.
Look it up and find the truth yourself. You
Yeah.
know, one of the things I did when we put the flag together, when we put flag together, was when we got everyone together, when we got, for example, King Rick. King Rick didn't really understand the issue of how the water is because it's a very complicated issue. We're being told, oh, the water is safe. It's got this chemical that's in the water that blocks the lead, and the lead doesn't leach into the water when this chemical is in the pipe because it seals the pipe and it prevents the leaching of water. And I said, look, brother, let's look this up together. Let's find this out. The chemical the city uses is called it's a phosphate. I want to say cryptosporidium, but it's not.
That's a different show, right?
Yeah,
That's a
that's a
different
different
show.
show.
Cryptosporidium is a different show.
but the compound they put in the water is supposed to seal the pipe, but it's not to prevent leaching of the lead. It's to slow down the corrosion of the pipe.
Okay.
That's all it's supposed to do. It's the lead is still leaching, and the lead leaches in two forms. The lead leaches in soluble form, and it leaches in particulate form. Now, when they tell you where to flush the water in order to remove the lead, what they're talking about specifically is the soluble form, and the soluble form lead is like when you put sugar in water and it dissolves in the water. That kind of water that sits in your pipe has lead, and when you run the water, yeah, it flushes out. But what they don't tell you is when the particles start flaking off the pipe when the
Okay.
water is running. And so when you have these little tiny particulate matter falling into the water, that increases the lead content of the water expeditionally. It just raises the level of poison in the water when a tiny microscopic piece of lead pipe goes into the water and your child or you ingest it into your body. Tiny, tiny pieces
But
that
it ain't
are,
just I always talk about it's not just about drinking it. You take a shower in it, you bathe in it, you
you
cook
cook in
with it,
it. And
you
when you
wash the
cook in it,
dishes with it. Like
yeah,
it's unavoidable for any of us.
right. And when you cook with that water, what you're doing is you're making the lead even more toxic.
Right.
And it harms you even more.
So it's
Now,
all up in the ramen noodles. It's all up in spaghetti. It's all up in,
we,
you know what I mean? Like
there
it's
was there was a study done at Virginia Tech University by this professor over there, scientist, and he did a study where he took water that is got lead in it, cooked macaroni. After the macaroni was cooked and everything was done, they put the cheese and they did it all up nicely. He tested it and found that the lead content in that dish of macaroni had as much lead in it as a penny-sized paint chip.
wow.
And
Wow.
so, but we don't tell ourselves, we don't tell our people that information, and the government won't tell you that either. Because the city of Milwaukee, let's now remember this. The city of Milwaukee mandated those lead pipes be put in.
Mm-hmm.
This is a government created problem. And this is a government that needed to resolve the problem it created. And that mandate came back in the 1870s. And also, there is a expiration date on those lead pipes. You're supposed to be changing those pipes every 70 years. Science says every 70 years, pipes that run water through them have to be changed every 70 years because of corrosion issues and all the other compounds that are found leaking or leaching onto the pipes and sticking on like minerals and all those other things. All that stuff is in the pipe. So you got to replace the pipes every 70 years.
I, I
Those
just
pipes,
I
these
just laugh
pipes in our
because
homes, these pipes in our homes have been now in the ground feeding our homes with water for over
over
130
100.
to 140 years.
Yeah. I
You know,
just
those
remember
pipes
I
are
just
way due to
remember
be replaced.
Mayor Barrett at first was like, "Go get a water filter," but he didn't tell you what was the right filter to get.
Right.
And
He
then
just
they
said, go get
said,
a filter. Right.
right, and then they said, "Well, no, it's going to be taxpayers' responsibility to pay for anything from the sidewalk back to your home." At one point, that was what they're saying, and so
Right.
for them now to circle back and say, "Okay, we going back at the paint again," and I'm looking like, who is there anybody down there who understands we got this shit on tape? Like,
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Like, it's so funny to me that how many times they've screwed the pony in terms of like screwing over taxpayers, and once again, without people understanding that we pay their salaries. This is my main problem. Like, okay, so all the problems in MPS, neither my kids are out of school now, right? Neither one of them are in MPS. So it's easy for me to say, oh, it don't matter to me. But my tax money and my tax dollars goes to MPS.
Right.
So if you're misusing any of my bread, I, I want you to answer up, right? I want you to say what's going on. Now, let's get to the pipes in MPS because I really think right now this will be stalled so long because MPS leadership from the school board to the actual system itself is shitty. Like you got a new everything, new superintendent, and I don't know how much she even knows. She kind of just walked into a situation. Like what? Like
Well,
what?
she's got experience. She's got experience with dealing with lead and water pipe issue because when she was in Boston, that
Okay.
was a major issue in Boston.
Okay. Now
And so
did they
she,
come up with a solution there?
yeah, they came up with ideas and solutions there. So she knows about the issue. The problem is because City Hall wants to focus on lead paint and dust,
Okay.
she's going along with what City Hall is doing, you know. And what City Hall says about MPS and the lead pipes there is that, oh, well, you know, there are no lead laterals at MPS buildings, which is true. Most of, actually, almost all of the buildings do not have the laterals that connect from the water mains to the inside of the building. However, what they will not tell you is that the pipes are located in the building, the premises pipes, the pipes that are behind the walls, those pipes that feed the bubblers, those pipes that feed the sinks. Now, in this last, you remember back in 2016 where they had the big MPS explosion that all the bubblers and all the fountains were lead poisoned with water. Their water was lead poisoned. We know from that time that those pipes in those buildings needed to be replaced. We knew it. And the city knew it. But the city didn't do it. All they said was, we're going to put filters. Now, this time around, check this out. This time around, now that they're all concerned about lead dust and lead paint, they also had to do an environmental assessment of every building that showed kids were being lead poisoned. And in the environmental assessments, they also tested the water. Now, what did we find? What did they find that the public really doesn't know about? What they found was that in those sinks and in those kitchen sinks and bathroom sinks that did not have filters, the water still showed, in some cases, up to 5 parts per billion to almost 40 parts per billion of lead in the water. Why is that important? Because the CDC and EPA say 0 is what you should be having in the water. Even the Pediatrics Academy of the United States said if you're going to be having some lead in water, it can't be more than 1 part per billion.
Okay.
But the city didn't put any emphasis on the issue of the water being tainted because, again, it's a city liability. Who controls the water? who controls the pipes? The city should be controlling the pipes. The city is the one supplying the water. The city is the landlord. The city is the company that provides the service of the water. You know, when the Spectrum or somebody who puts cable in your house has an issue, they don't say to
You
you, you
call
got to
that.
fix it yourself.
No, you
They got
call
to
that.
come out and fix it.
Right, 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 right.
That's
And
what the city
and
should be doing.
so and also too, you make it more. You make me understand why it's so complicated, because you have all these different sides which should be working together, pulling against each other. And I guess my issue is you'll just keep talking and kids will still keep getting poisoned.
Right.
The
Right.
longer you speak, the less action gets done. Now, once again, we talk money, we talk, now it gets into political realms. We start talking about lobbyists and special interest groups, because we allowed the state to laugh in our face and tell us they had a $3 billion surplus. We in Milwaukee, the largest generator of tax revenue in this state, which I didn't understand why our mayor was so passive in the tax increase by allowing them to define, basically loaning us some of our own money. But we allowed them to do. What did they do with the money? There's no new cows. Like what? And it wasn't, if it wasn't, because Madison done this. Madison has done this. They had a plan years ago, correct? They removed their lead pipe laterals.
Correct.
Okay. And there's been other places that have done it.
Oh, Green Bay. Other, I mean, many cities that are majority white are doing this.
Okay.
Many cities. Now, that's not to say Milwaukee is not doing it. They are removing some of these laterals. They are not doing as an extensively as a lot of these cities
Okay.
outside of Milwaukee, but they are removing some. The problem is that the city of Milwaukee leaders, elected leaders, uh, have mastered the art of setting up control groups around the city.
Mm-mm.
Okay, and
Mm.
so they have these control groups that they activate to put the pressure off of the city government, off of the elected officials at city, and these control groups are designed to deflect a lot of the public's criticism and a lot of the public's anger by coming up with goofy crap that they throw out there. You know, oh, we're going to find solutions. Well, we're going to work on resolution. We're going to sit down with these people and try. You know, they've been doing this. The city has been doing this control group kind of practice for decades.
Well,
They,
we watched them do it with violence prevention, because over the years there's been and this happens, and it's about to be summertime today. Once again, I have to say today was a beautiful day. And so as we move into the warmer months, there's going to be some instances where maybe 2-3 people get murdered, right? Or maybe a child gets murdered. And then you'll see our mayor with the same group of individuals behind him saying they have this groundbreaking anti-violence initiative and they're
right,
going to donate so much money towards it.
right.
You never hear about the shit again.
And it's gone exactly. And so you hide yourself with these people behind you. You hide yourself at these town hall meetings, these control groups put together, and then you got a couple of people from the community who are actually being very sincere and
Mhm.
really want to see something done,
Right,
but
right,
don't understand they're being used, and they put them in the front of a microphone, and some of them can't really pronounce certain words, like I can't pronounce certain words,
right,
and
right.
they use these people, and behind the scenes, it's the more insidious, intelligent, and I would say mostly white people who then write up the grants to say, give me some grant money so we can continue this deception and help you get past this crisis.
Yeah, and you know what? That's who really gets the money. I mean, make
Exactly.
no mistake, the white people still winning. Like I'm looking at, because okay, so with this whole thing with DEI and all this kind of stuff, and we've talked about this on the show, and that as a man of color, I've watched us be put at the back of the bus when it comes to DEI, when it comes to any of these anti-racist, anti-discrimination policies that Trump is going after. When I look at them in totality, I say, well, that wasn't really moving the needle for us in the first place. Like, let's be honest. Yeah, it's cool for you and your job to get together and have, sensitivity trainings, but your hiring practice does not change. When we look at who's really running things administratively at any job, downtown, county, state, the majority of the supervisors, directors, vice presidents, whatever, are still white people. We didn't see all of a sudden we got all these. Now our government looks so diverse. No, that is not what was happening. At the same time, I understand that anytime you start kind of inching away at anything that's based on preventing equality or getting rid of racism or discrimination, it's still going to affect us overall. But I'm just saying our leaders right now are tone deaf to anything we say because they know that we're not going to do anything about it. It's almost like they're calling our bluff. What you going to do?
I tell when people say that to me and they tell me, what can we do? As I remind people, what did your ancestors do back in the 40s? What did your ancestors do in the 50s? What did your grandpapa and your grandma did? They lived in a time where they couldn't even drink from a fountain.
Right.
They couldn't
even get white lead. They had to drink
exactly.
Lead.
They couldn't pull into a restaurant when they were on the road.
Right.
They had to get the family out to use the bathroom in the woods.
Right.
We're getting back to that kind of stuff. And if you think what they did back then doesn't show you, yes, you can do something. Look at what they did. Study what they did.
Right.
See that you can do something to make the changes that need to be done. It was harder for them then. It's much more easier for us today. We have access more than they had access.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know we have more lawyers now. We have more professionals now.
Well, I think we just kind of, but we've become complacent.
We became white. Okay, that's both our people. We became white, and what I mean by that is we have put ourselves in this mindset of being rich. We have put ourselves in this mindset of materialism. Is for me, the individual is me. The village concept doesn't matter to me because I got to take care of me and I got to get mine. That's what has happened to both our communities. I
want to talk about our communities. Because we talk a lot about on this show about foundational Black Americans and the delineation movement. And I like to speak on the hope that you can get solidarity amongst your people. And I think it's a great thing when a Mexican American says, hey, I'm Mexican. Right. Or a Puerto Rican says, hey, I'm Puerto Rican. Or a German says, hey, I'm a German American. I'm a Polish American. I'm a Jewish American. And I think that we, as the descendants of the slaves, I'm not even going back to Africa.
Right.
We're American. Nobody's more American. Nobody's paid the cost to be the boss like Black people in this country. And that's not to disrespect anybody else's struggle. But from the chains to the gangs, right? Like we came here forcibly. We were enslaved. We've been objectified. We've been taken advantage of. All these kinds of things have happened. But yet and still, when there was any kind of armed conflict, we were the first ones to say, "Hey, we'll go." When it comes to who spends the most money to keep this economy popping on consumer products, we spend more money on lotion than any other cultural group. I think I would put that up, my bet on that against any other cultural group. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like for us to say, hey, we're foundational Black Americans. This is how we are going to delineate and speak on how to circle the wagon. Some people say it's divisive, right? And this election kind of put this in perspective for us because we as Black Americans voted 85% democratically.
Right.
There was a 12% spike, I believe, in Black male votership for the Republicans, but Latinos, it was different. And I've just been confused as to what is it about Trump that Latinos admire? Because immigration and deporting people and ICE and the wall, and this is what he's been saying for years. We've been confused on the show saying, what were they thinking? Why is it t-shirts that say Latinos for, I know it's t-shirts that say blacks for Trump too, but I'm just saying, and I want to get it from your perspective because you are a Latino. So respectfully.
So this whole phenomena has been going on for many, many years.
Okay.
And I usually use the Cuban community as an example. The Cubans are reflective of a lot of immigrants that are coming from countries that had dictators, that had, like, for example, Venezuela with Maduro, who's all a dictator, a kind of almost communist, but a socialist dictator. In Cuba, they had Batista, who was a dictator, but a more of a fascist dictator.
Right.
And so when these individuals are coming in from those countries and they stay here for a while, they are reminded of the dictatorships that they lived in. And so when they hear somebody like Trump talking the way he does, especially against immigrants, they turn on their own by voting for him because they feel that these people are reflective of what those dictators represented. They don't believe in freedom. They don't believe in the capitalism. They don't believe in coming here to be making money. That's the kind of twisted mentality a lot of these guys have. And so they see these people coming here to freeload, to leech, to take advantage of welfare systems and of other things that the United States provides to the American people. And so they get into that crazy notion that MAGA gets into. And they think that Trump is going to eliminate that when they don't really understand how white supremacy works. And they don't understand that this is really a white nationalist fascist movement that, yes, that it is going to go ahead and get rid of, people who are taking advantage, who are poor, who take advantage, as they want to put it. But we're going to get rid of those people. But they don't realize that he's really talking about getting rid of you too.
That's my point. That is what we're okay. So thank you first of all, because you just kind of reinforced a lot of the things we've stated up to this point. And I'm looking at this saying, how didn't you understand that he was talking about you too? So see, like, okay, you heard me overstand the fact that when he attacks anything in terms of equality or discrimination or segregation, I already know we're included. Right. It's not a direct shot, it's a stray. Right. But I already know, hey, that's sent over, that hit a little close to home. You know what I'm saying? And so I get a lot of black people who, the ones that are Trump supporters or Republican supporters, say, he's done more for you than any other president. And what has he ever done racist? And I'm confused by the question. Like, are you serious? Like, it's to the point, my brother, where I don't even dignify with an answer. I say, hey, man, it is what it is. And that's, if you ever hear a black person say that kind of mean that they don't want to talk about it. If they say it is what it is, I mean, I really don't want to talk about this shit right now. Like, so I can't have these arguments. I'm not on long diatribes on Facebook going back because I'm not going to turn them anyways. Like, so we have Orlando who calls in. He's a staunch black conservative Republican Trump supporter, what have you. And I just give him a safe space to express himself. And because it's a waste of air for me to even say, and I've asked him, what don't you see? What don't you understand? So I look at certain Latino groups and say, how did y'all miss the point on this? Right. Because I thought you all had the most airtight solidarity. See, for me, I've always admired Latino people because when you get into their community, everything changed. The signs in the community are written in their language, the music, the food. They wear their traditional clothing. You see them with a cowboy hat and the vest and the boots. And I'm like, now that's some people who are together. They are together. They have solidarity. So this makes me think maybe y'all solidarity ain't as tight as I thought it was.
Well, they have a solidarity on how to make money. Okay. That's their whole focus. They want to make money. They understand that to make the money, they have to work as a village. They have to work together. And that's where the solidarity comes in, to build the wealth in the community. And when you build that wealth in the community, then you see more Latino owned shops. You see more shops that have Latino sounding names. You see all that stuff. That is the driving force of the community, right? The economics.
Okay.
But
Now
then,
Tamar's trying to jump in here. He ain't said nothing all night, so
okay,
I want to make sure.
I like Robert's answer to that on why they voted for Trump like that. You know what I mean? And I feel like I felt like the solidarity was there, and that's why they voted for Trump. Because I'm on the South Side every day, right, getting supplies and getting stuff. And I know, right? Remember, I told you, Kevin, right there on the corner of 13th and Greenfield, I saw a GOP spot right there. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Where they was. This is when the elections was going. So I'm like, they pushing for Trump. So I felt like they OGs was telling them, look, this is who we voting for. So I felt like they all voted for him. I felt like the solidarity was there, and that was the reason why they voted for him. Only they was mistaken, you know, somehow. Now that I hear his what he said, you know what I mean? It all really come together. Kind of.
It sounded like he was saying, "No, we tight. Our community's tight, but we made a mistake."
Right.
We understand that we have to build things together as a people.
Right.
We have to, because white supremacy in this country isn't going to build our community. We understand that.
Oh.
We know that, you know, but we get into this nonsense that we think, some of us, that is, we think we're too American to be able to think that we fit into this mindset of MAGA.
Okay.
And so we think, you know, there are people out there that are Latino who think that if they act like MAGA, think like MAGA, operate like MAGA, talk like MAGA, they're MAGA, they're American.
You know, when I was in the workforce, my bad, Rob.
Go ahead, bro.
I worked at a pallet company, and there was a lot of Mexicans there, and there was a few Mexicans, you know what I'm saying, that would carry that like house nigga role. You know?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
In hopes that they would be treated the same.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's like the brother and the brown brother in the police force. Hit that motherfucker harder.
Right.
he hit his own people harder than the white guy was hitting him.
Black police going out for the white cop.
Yeah, because he want to front to the white guy. Right. I can hit this motherfucker too.
Watch me hit him, boss.
I just watched Sam Jackson in Django when he said, "Who that nigga on that nag?" And then he said he's sleeping in the big house. He said, "Go get the rooms ready." He said, "How? By burning every sheet, every pillow, every bed they sleep on." And Steven was trying to show, I am loyal to you. I have no loyalty to this dude. I don't care. Like, what are you even doing
we got the same kind of Latinos. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And we got those. I mean, and like I said, we use. I look at, you study the Cuban community a little bit, and you really see it. You know, if you study the Cuban community, especially the Dade County Cubans, you'll see that they see themselves more as white. They'll recognize and identify as Cuban, but then they'll say that they are white.
Yeah, they'll say, like, well, you were a rebel trash against Castro back in the days. You were a criminal. I am an upstanding Cuban. We're business owners. We came here legally. We didn't come in the Cuban crime wave.
Exactly. Exactly. And those are the Latinos that were supporting Trump. Those are the Latinos that were back. Now they're realizing, oh, hell, they're picking me up too.
What? My nephew, my little cousin, right? Like,
yep. Oh, you know, now you got some of these cases coming up, like this brother over there in the El Salvador prison. You know,
oh my God.
They look. That is an example of what Trump is going to do, because if recently he said those prisons in El Salvador are going to be eventually housing homegrown homegrown Americans. Okay. In other words, he's going to be sending more like that brother that they got down there now.
Well,
And
no,
not
so
only,
isn't this the gay hairstylist who was, I guess they said he was, I don't know how true this is. They said he was arrested for wearing lipstick or something, and then he's like in prison, and then they showed a tattoo and said he was MS-13 or something. Like, is this the same person? I don't know.
no, it's not. No, it's a different person. The guy is Garcia is his last name,
Okay.
and so they took him in, and they're trying to justify him staying there because he has these tattoos on his knuckles. They say is MS-13, symbolizes MS-13. When everybody knows MS-13 ain't afraid of signifying who they are. They paint their whole face. They paint their whole body.
Right.
They have MS-13 written on them.
Like, clearly, like, I am
I
MS-13.
am MS-13. They ain't gonna, these, but this guy, they're using this as a way to not only defy the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court voted 9-0 to telling Trump, bring this citizen, this American citizen, back home. And Trump is defying that. But Trump is looking to defy that because his plan is to eventually weaken the courts to power grab. And once he does have all that power, and he's neutralized the legislative branch, and he's neutralized the judicial branch of government, and he's got all that power at the executive branch, then he's going to start turning that power, and he's going to start taking Americans, no matter what color they are,
Hey, well,
brown, black, white. He's going to be sending
like
all of y'all to El Salvador. And I'm going to tell you something else. And this is just me talking, okay? This is just me talking. Liberia, you know the history of Liberia?
I do.
What makes you think these people don't know that history? What makes you think that when he gets that power, and all this years they've been saying, we're going to send you back to Africa, they ain't going to send you over to Monrovia.
Well, I'll tell you
Monroviaville.
that's a great because I've heard a lot of people say that to us, and they say, "Oh, black people," and this is kind of funny and it's kind of serious, where they say, "Oh, y'all chilling now, y'all, yeah," but he's gonna eventually send y'all. But my question is, for foundational Black Americans, where are you gonna send us? Because listen, let's be honest about it. And I don't want nobody to tell me how they contact the ancestry.com. I want them to understand that that's actually owned by Blackstone, this billion-dollar Cobra Commander type organization, right? And I'm not putting my DNA in nothing, sending it to nobody, right?
No, never do that. No, I wouldn't. No.
So we're gonna trace our lineage. I'll trace my family history through my aunts and uncles that are still alive, into the family Bibles that exist, that name off and show what, and it only goes back to the southern part of this country. So are they going to force me to move back to Alabama? They're going to deport us to Mississippi? Because I'm sure Monrovia is going to be like, we don't, the motherfuckers ain't from here. We don't want them out here. No.
Well, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Why would they get rid of their biggest consumers?
This is also true. This is also very true.
They do not care to have us in America. Okay, no matter how much we spend, no matter how much we consume,
okay,
they want America to be them.
Okay.
So they do not care. Now, one of the things that President Monroe, who is the president that the city in Liberia was named after, Monroeville, all right, they created Liberia.
Right.
And the idea was, after the slaves were free, send them there.
Right. My
opinion, and this is just an opinion, if this clown gets the power he's looking for, they already brought that law back, the Immigrant Enemies Act that they're using right now, from 1848. What makes you think they're not going to go back to that and say, let's send these people back to Liberia, and they could build up Liberia the way they want?
I think the only difference is that, even for black people, the establishment of Liberia was kind of met with, okay, that might be something. Like that might be advantageous to us. We're not actually against that. I think if you set up any African country in the people, the foundational black Americans in America, the majority of us ain't going.
Exactly.
You have one hell of a fight on your hands. And if it comes down to you now sending people in to detain us, this turns instantaneously into armed conflict.
Exactly.
A lot of people say, Kev, niggas ain't gonna do shit. I disagree. If you tell us we're coming tonight, we're gonna start doing sweeps, taking y'all forcibly back to somewhere in Africa, it's gonna be gun smoke. And because there's gonna be a lot of people,
and they learn.
Same as the slaves who jumped off the boats during the Middle Passage, who said, "I'm not going to America. I'd rather die in this ocean." They jumped off.
You were dealing with people today who could care less about armed conflict. That's what they want.
Well, they sure gonna get it.
And that's what we have to prepare ourselves for. Exactly. If you haven't seen what's going on in a lot of these red states, check out a lot of those pages. I know people don't like going there, but you got to check those pages out. They're out there training their families on how to use weapons, how to tactically maneuver, how to clear out bedrooms and houses, how to walk through and military formation in the woods. They're teaching all of their families that. These people are preparing themselves.
Well, what happens with that is the same lesson that America's learned several times over, in which you can't prepare for urban warfare. The only thing you can do is blow it up. Any conflict in which the United States had to engage, or any country for that matter, said we're gonna have to go street by street, block by block, because it's easy to train somebody to walk in the woods. It's easy to take me out to the forest because ain't nobody shooting back. You in the city, you got people on top of buildings, you got booby traps. Is what we learned driving down them roads, interact with them IEDs. You gonna drive? I'm gonna come up on this village. No, you ain't. When you got people in their house waiting with a bomb to say when they all get in here. I mean, this is what I'm saying is
don't forget what they don't forget what they did to the MOVE movement in Philadelphia, brother.
No doubt, you can't forget it.
They will bomb a city block.
Yeah, they will. And we say, well, look what they done to Rosewood.
Exactly. They will. They will, and they want to. Let's not take for granted what these people are trying to do.
I think our community is way more armed now than we was with Rosewood and with Black Wall Street. I think we're way more armed than they even were with the move movement. Say that 20 times in Philadelphia. Now, I think because you caught some people who
we just gotta start teaching our people not to be using the guns against each other.
There we go. And so, like, yeah, but I feel like sometimes when you force somebody to survive, they will.
Well, we got to teach our people how to survive sustainable living, how to grow the foods in their yards, how to grow the foods in their basement, I mean, these are things that need to be taught to our people so that we can survive and that we can get by whenever they start acting the way they're acting now. This guy is not playing. He's not playing. We are seriously in a constitutional crisis. People are saying, oh, this is going to get under control. Let me tell you something. This guy is a nut. This guy is not playing, and he wants that power. And so, we got to prepare ourselves. We have to.
I just feel like, so I say all the time, my faith is in the people, because I think in America, what we've proven is we will burn some shit down. Now, I know people say, well, Kev, that's not enough, whatever. But the Americans collectively, when you go too far, they will let you know it. Because when we start talking about anarchy, we start talking about martial law. That creates a clear-cut enemy. So right now, I don't encourage my brothers and sisters to arm themselves and shoot at policemen or shoot at ICE or shoot. I would say, no, don't do that right now, because that's going to cause wholesale damage. But if it gets to the point where we like, okay, the enemy is them right there, the whoever, military, police, I feel like it's gonna be hell for them to deal with because they will never know which way it's coming from. And so my hope, I see the Lord. We celebrate the judges on here who have taken stands and stopped him from doing certain things, and we said this before he was elected. Our only hope would be the judges in the Supreme Courts. Now, in some cases, they're ruling for him, and I'm like, what you doing, right? But like you see that we got a Democratic judge here in the Supreme Court.
Right.
And I said that's a step in the right direction because at the end of the day, the states still have their rights.
Exactly.
The feds and states have rights. So I said it's a good thing that that's what they're doing. So, you know,
and it's important. It's important that the states maintain those rights because that is right now the biggest defense against what's going on at the federal level.
Yep.
But let's also realize that we have to at least continue to make our people aware and continue to push preparedness. Push being prepared. Know how to survive. Teach yourself survival skills. Teach yourself sustainable living styles.
Absolutely.
Show your children how to plant food. Show your children how to differentiate bad water from good water. Show the kids how you my granddaughter is 5 years old and she's already hitting bullseyes 100 yards downrange with a 22 rifle.
Okay.
You know, these are essential.
That's right.
To survival. To survive.
I took my son early, and I know my wife was a little perturbed when he was about 14. When he finally got, because I was waiting for years. When I would go to the range, his dad, can I say, you know, you can't go, man. Your mama don't want you to go. I think he might have been about 13, 14. I said, yeah, I'm going to take you. And I said to her, hey, he going with me. She said, you going to take him to the gun range? I said, absolutely. And to my surprise, like you said, he's pretty handy with a firearm. He had been watching YouTube videos. He knew all about the guns. He's telling me about why he liked the trigger on the Glock versus the Canic. I'm like, where you get all this shit from? Like, I've been looking at YouTube, Dad. So yeah, that's very important. I try to get my wife now. She won't touch one. I'm like, look, they all over the house. You should know any window or door you can come in is one near. So you should know how to lock and load. But you're right. But it's deeper than just guns, like you said. Gardening, fishing, hunting. You know, being able to eat. Now, if we get the grid, they collapse the grid on us. What's going to happen? You're going to starve because you depending on Save-A-Lot instead of learning how to forage and things of that nature.
Instead of knowing how to take twigs and make fire with them.
Yeah.
Instead, you know, all that stuff is essential. You know, and not only guns, but also training a good dog.
Oh yeah.
You can do a lot with a very well-trained dog.
If you got 5 of them, woo-wee.
You got a shotgun.
Right. A dog and a shotgun. A German Shepherd and a shotgun, right?
Yep. There you go.
But no, and we joke about it, but I try to remain optimistic, and I'm gonna tell you why. Most of the time I'm looking, because I've always been a glass half full type of dude, but I'm trying to see my grandkids. I ain't even got my grandbabies yet. My kids just got grown. I'm hoping. Come on, y'all just hold on to mine? Come, like don't let it be over. Now I got a caller. I got Dion on the line. I know he's calling from somewhere. Dion, can you hear us? Let's check our connection.
Yeah, I can hear you. You know where I'm calling from?
Okay.
I'm calling from my house.
Okay.
Like I got to get up at 4:45 in the morning. What do you think I'm gonna be calling?
I don't know. I shouldn't even ask you that because you sound like you got laryngitis. Go cough and spit or something.
The difference now, you know, I can sit and watch y'all on the big screen. If I'm sitting here on the couch playing with the dogs, watch y'all on the 75. I see Bull eating something. I don't know what, bro. He trying to sneak behind the microphone and eating shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, though, man. Was you watching the other day the town hall that Byron Donald had? He had a nigga moment. Like, he should have got the shit slapped out of him. I wish somebody black was there. Like, don't you never bring up you a black man and you know. Like, bro, you just don't know. I can't stand these motherfuckers. Like, but you know what, though? The good part about it, I'll be seeing people on Facebook that voted for Trump. And I'll be trolling and I say, he's trying to make our America great again. He's doing what he's doing for the people. And they're like, how is he doing it for the people? I'm not making any money. One guy was talking about how he invested, he spent $100,000 to have these teddy bears, you know, like stuffed animals made overseas. And it's going to cost him another, I think, $145,000 to get them brought back over here. So he spent $100,000 getting them produce, getting them made because the materials and stuff. You know, the one person was like, well, why you didn't get them made over here? Well, the materials over there in China where you got them made, it was a little bit cheaper and it was plentiful over there. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, well, I spent $100,000, you know, getting them manufacturing things like that. And then he was talking about how he got to spend like another, I think, $145,000 to get them exported back over here. So that's $245,000. He gonna be like 45,000 in the hole, the negative, because he wasn't prepared for that. You know what I'm saying? Because of the tariffs kicking in. So you know, I just go on there and be like, well, you know, that's probably
Trump had to back down from. I knew you ain't messing with China. You got to stop messing with it. Listen, you watch TV, don't you? You have a computer, don't you? You have a phone, don't you? You like, I knew he was going, and he had to back all the way up, and China stood on it. Like keep.
Where's you hearing this? He backed down on it.
I just seen it today. I just seen it.
Yeah, he did it. He did it today. Yes, yeah. He did it about 4 hours ago.
Yeah, he had to.
I'm gonna have it.
And China, like, who you playing with?
What, though?
Like, no,
because I heard Target and Walmart, the heads pulled them in. But the thing about it, though, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of, the thing is, he's making unstable relationships with other countries as well. Because, okay, in the last week or so, he went up on the tariffs. They go down on the tariffs. And everybody around the world, like, dude is unstable. And then I was looking at something like with Ford. They was talking about, like, this transmission that Ford puts in his Broncos or something. That there's only 2 places in the world that those transmissions could be produced in. One is Mexico and one is Canada. You know what I'm saying? So basically, that's just like you fucking with a woman. And every time you turn around, she unstable. She up, she down, she up, she down. Pretty soon, you just going to be like cool on her, like, I don't even want to fuck with you. So that's how basically it's going to be with you.
Most of us just deal with it, Dion.
Nah.
To have a woman who's up and down, like, come on now, that's a whole other shit.
That sounds like she's bipolar.
No. So basically,
well, most of our women are bipolar. I'm sorry.
Basically, people looking at Trump, you know what I'm saying? They're looking at the United States.
All women are bipolar.
At the United States.
On,
they looking at the United States like the United, and I ain't saying they looking at the United States, but the leadership of the United States. Well, but I've been on YouTube all day though. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen nothing about him recanting on the tariffs.
Canada did it. China did it. All of Mexico has done it and said, "You really want to do that? You really now think about what we send y'all, and we're going to put tariffs on that too." And every time he backed down. Only the little nitwit joints is saying, "Oh my God, it's a tariff." He putting tariffs on people we don't even do trade with.
Yeah, he putting tariffs on penguins.
Right, like, come on, man. Like, so you're right. He's unstable, but I think after a while, look, people tend to get the joke. Like, everybody gets the joke. Our president is off the rock.
He is a joke, but the thing is, he also is a little bit cunning, and that is the fact that he has been able to manipulate the market, and the ones who are benefiting the most on this are the billionaires. The billionaires are the ones who are benefiting.
I buy from you. You don't want it no more. I buy it.
Yeah, they sucking up all of that stuff that's being lost, and then they put it away, and then next thing you know, the value goes back up, and they got another 60, 70, $80 billion in their pocket.
Sell it back for him now.
He's taking care of his people. Oh, yeah. The 1%ers out there, he's doing them the big favor. And he's just telling them, look, when you get your money, just put it in my pack. All right? You made 100 billion, you made 200 billion. I want at least 10% of that put in my pack.
It's crazy. You know what? I think the craziest part of this is I see a lot of people who support Trump, and I look at them most of the time and say, you ain't in the right tax bracket to support Trump.
Exactly.
Right. So I don't know what you're cheering for. You don't make enough money. Well, I'm a business owner and I make $100,000 a year. He do that in golf in one setting. Like I don't.
And Kev, just to push how much he don't care about the people of America, how much he don't care about the people who support him. Look at what he's doing to his girl in Arkansas. That governor, his governor girl, the one that used to be his press secretary in the first term, Huckabee, that Governor Huckabee.
Huckabee.
Yeah, Huckabee sent him a letter because her government is running out of money, and needs federal support. He denied her any help. He denied her any money. So Arkansas, a red state, a big Republican state, run by the governor who was his girl, who lied for him, told all kinds of BS in front of cameras in support of him. He threw her under the bus and said, I ain't got nothing for you. See, this is the kind of insidious, disloyal, corrupt tangerine we're dealing with here.
Right. Well,
And when you can turn on your own people who stood there with you, lying in camera, and then become governor, and now are there, and you're gonna turn your back on them. This ain't a man to trust. This ain't nobody to trust, and the world knows it.
Yeah, but every time you bring him up, somebody else bring up Biden. Now let me go to chat room. And I'm like, well, you know, Biden ain't president no more. He signed a crime bill in '94. What are we talking about? It's like Earl Henny said love for Rob. He said Water Street. He's talking about Water Street. Ruben Johns. What up, Ruben Anderson? Ruben said what he said. Tell it, say it, tell it. Yes. Shout out to you, Ruben. Appreciate all the work you do in the community. Shabaka St. Court said, I just found out Tariq Nasheed owns the patent and copyright for FBA. Very interesting. So I don't got an FBA t-shirt. I don't have a bumper sticker. I'm not in the group. I don't pay dues to him. I don't even watch his show. The ideology of FBA didn't even come from Tariq Nasheed. We on this show have talked about black nationalism. In fact, we just discussed it. Aside from FBA putting a title on it, we are the only cultural identity created by this country. Nobody else can say their cultural identity was formed by this country. If you're from Germany, you're German. If you're Japanese, you're from Japan. Black people only come from America. There's no such thing as an English black person. He's from England. He's not black. You ask him where he's from. Nigeria. You're Nigerian. You're from Ghana. You're Ghanaian. I don't care what Tariq Nasheed owns. Listen, Phil Knight owns Nike, and people wear them all the time. Right? Who owns Ford? Who owns Dodge? Everything is owned by somebody. And if you choose to invest and support them, you own a computer. Apple, who owns Apple? Who owns Microsoft? I don't care that he owns that. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect anything about the delineation movement. If it's just Tariq Nasheed and those three letters that you don't like, that's like a personal thing. I'm more inclined about how we're really identifying and trying to formulate an identity so we can achieve solidarity. Go ahead, Kamar.
Why do it always got to be a problem with what we call ourselves? At least this time a black man come up with a name. Shit, we've been niggas for how long?
And we've accepted that, but we said to each other. It's a whole rap industry built on the word.
Though, man, you know what I mean? Why we always got to go against each other? It's always got to be something. A motherfucker find some reason to go against each other. You know what I mean? Like,
damn, Robert, this is the kind of shit we got to deal with.
Out of all the shit to debate about.
This is kind of shit. This black people shit, Robert. This is what you get when you
come on. That's what happens when you have lead in the head, man.
He's from out west. Yeah, he ain't got no lead. I don't know. Small.
if he's out west, that means he's having lead in his food because there's a lot of lead in them fish.
Oh Lord, Mercury. Lord have mercy. Look, I'm gonna give Shabaka a chance to call in. I just didn't want to. I wanted Robert because I want to respect your time, and I know you're a busy man. You've been with us now for hour and 30 minutes. So if you got somewhere to go, if you say, Kev, I'm gonna turn.
Yeah, I gotta run, brother. I gotta deal with my mom's and give her a call and give her some blessings tonight, and I want to make sure she's doing good. I always love visiting my cousins. I always love chatting. It's always a good thing to be out with you and brother Kamar, and you guys be safe, be good, and we'll chat again soon.
Now, so if people want to get information from Flack, is it a Facebook page? Is it?
Actually, they can look up Get the Lead Out Coalition. Get the Lead Out Coalition on Facebook, and you can leave a message or you could go ahead and send an email, but you can link up with us there.
My brother, it's always a pleasure to have you, man. Been knowing you for years. I know you're a solid dude. I know you do your thing in the community. I know you love your people and your community. And anytime I have any question about Latinos, and Kamar can tell you this, I always be like, we got to get Robert Miranda on the show and ask him. I'm like, we got to get Robert on. Like, because that's you're the brother that I know from the South Side that's Latino, that's entrenched with his people. So, man, thank you for coming, man. And you know, whenever you want to come in, if you got anything you want to push to the people, feel free, reach out. You know, we'll get you in.
All right, brother. Y'all be good.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Take
Peace
care.
out. All right, now, Kamar, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a short break because we got the second part of the show. I want you to talk because I put in TikTok. I got a TikTok of you up talking about the Sherman Phoenix and the House of Vitality, which is dope. So I'm gonna take a short, not a long break, because we're gonna start taking calls. We gotta talk about some other stuff that's funny but tragic. So I'm gonna take a short break. I'm gonna step away for just about 20 seconds. So you can talk about House of Vitality, whatever you have coming up, Sherman Phoenix. The floor is yours. I love doing this to you, by the way, just in case you're sitting there wondering, like, really, Kev? I love putting you on the spot like this.
Damn it. You finna start the show again. Peace, family. Hey, yo, listen, man. Make sure you come up to the Sherman Phoenix. Visit the House of Vitality. We got other news. We got new Black-owned businesses in there. We got Just For You Catering in there. She got vegan options for my vegan family. She got vegan options. So we got a couple different restaurants there to cater to us. She got all kind of other soul food, good stuff that she created that y'all gonna love. What else we got up in there? We got Earl Hennies. We got Ed Hennies. I'm sorry, I'm seeing Earl Hennies in the chat room. But we got Ed Hennies work boots. First Black-owned work boots in America. We always talking about Black-owned stuff that we looking for that we can't find where, well, look, you need work boots. This is the first Black-owned work boot company. Hey, Dion, you still watching? Nigga, you need some work boots? Ed Henny's got them at the Sherman Phoenix. Go get you a pair, man. That's a Black man that own that business. He did 20 years in the joint. He came out. He got a work truck company. He got work boots now. You know what I'm saying? So he building off of what he loved. And don't forget the House of Vitality, y'all. I can't stop. I can't go here without talking about the House of Vitality, right? Come up to the House of Vitality. Get your sea moss drinks, get your sea moss, get your smoothies, come get your elderberry. We're going to boost them immune systems. We're going to help your blood pressure. People with diabetes, come on up here with your diabetes. We're going to get some information for you. You don't just come and get supplies, but you come and you get information. You know what I'm saying? Come on up there. I'm up there every week, Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 7 we open, y'all. 11 to 7. You could call me in between them hours too. 414-949-2122. Let's put a package together for you.
There you go. Shout out to House of Vitality.
God damn, Kev, that shit rough, man.
Hey, man, it's easy. Kamar, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it, right?
It flow like water for you, man. It flow like water for you.
Anybody can do this. It's so easy. It's so easy. Hey, man, start you a show today.
I don't want my own show. No.
Man. Shabaki, you've been trying to call, man. If you want to call now, because I'm going to open up the lines. I don't know if Dion, because I know Dion be tired, man. So I don't know if Dion's still with us. We might have lost Dion. I want to start off the second part of the show talking about, first of all, does anybody have any updates on Carmelo Anthony's case? I know he did get bond. I don't believe a lot of the stuff I see in terms of, they took the money and bought a house and a new truck and all this. I haven't been following it as closely as I probably should. And we're talking about what the actual legalities of this situation are in terms of standing your ground and defending yourself, and whether or not you feel threatened or you feel like you're in danger. Carl, I need you to cut your device down.
Okay, hold on, Kev. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Defending yourself and whether or not you feel threatened. Okay, how's that?
That's better. Now, I didn't expect you to call because you put a post up that said if you FBA, unfriend me. So I'm like, I guess we won't be hearing from Shabaka again. So I'm surprised that you called.
Okay, but I just found out, man, it's a bunch of bullshit, man. Tariq Nasheed, he's got a lot of money out there in L.A., man, so he owns the
also too, somebody else had put me to the challenge, man, you know, and if they're in earshot, man, you know, to trace the slave ship route of how we were brought here, which I'm doing is quite involved. I finally got it, man. I've been looking for the last 2 years, so I got that, so I'm putting it up there. But the fact of the matter is, man, is that the police still kill us, man, rather if we're from Milwaukee, rather if we're from Los Angeles, rather if we're from Chicago, rather if we're from Nigeria, rather if we're from Kingston, Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? To quote the X-Man. So, you know, everybody can feel the way they want. I respect it. Oh, you know, and then I got off into it with Paris, man, you know, up on my podcast, you know what I'm saying? And I had to end the STREAMYARD, you know what I mean? And I hated to have to do it, brother. You know what I'm saying? And then also, too, man,
well, we got something in common.
Your show where he got up there and disrespected you all, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate the brother, man, but I stand on my fucking square, man. I've been on this goddamn planet, man. What? Damn near 65 years now. So I do talk about shit that I've lived through. And then keep in mind, though, too, Kev, as you already know, with you being an educator, a whole lot of the information, man, is that they take out. Case in point. All right, they want us to sit up here to call a fucking man a damn woman, man, who's shoving ketchup up his ass, talking about he's having a menstrual cycle, which is really an insult to womanhood. But however, this crazy bastard has his civil rights and he has his human rights. Okay, just don't.
Call drop. Oh, call drop. Listen. I want to go back to the FBA thing, and I hope Shabaka calls back because I seen his post and some of the comments that I seen that people made in regards to delineation or FBA were wildly inaccurate. It's one of the phenomena of somebody just wanting to hear the sound of their own voice, Kamar. A lot of it was baseless, right? So I want to, he's calling. We'll get him back. And so Shabak, I want to go back to FBA, okay?
Right.
Because when you put that post up, I seen a lot of people who I don't know why people feel like they're uber scholars, right? Like they're so academic, right? And like everybody got to say some in-depth shit. First of all, I have been talking about Black solidarity on my platform for 11 years. I have been talking about the fact that the slaves who came here by force, who were forced to work and build this country on their backs, had children. And those children had children, and those children had children, and those children had children. At this point, some of us are 12 to 13 to 14 generation Americans. It's that deep. And the way we've been treated and the way we understand white supremacy and white people is totally different from everybody else because they have built-in solidarity. If you are a Haitian, there is nothing wrong with you identifying as a Haitian. If you are an African, if you're French, there's nothing wrong with you saying, hey, I'm from French people. I don't understand why it's a problem when Black Americans who have been wandering the desert for years trying to find an identity. Jesse Jackson said, African American. White folks, you say colored. Some of them say nigger, right? We haven't known, we said Black power. When we said that, there was a lot of conservative Black people from the Christian coalition saying, that's wrong. Y'all doing too much. And it was a problem then. So right now, when a group of Black Americans who can only, I'm not sending my spit in no envelope to registry. That's bullshit.
Oh, hell no. Don't do that because if you do that, man, you're giving up all your intellectual property on that shit. So I definitely agree with you on that.
I don't trust the results. I see people on the TikTok page saying, well, my family came here in 1830 and da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, you know what? Every time the shit got hot on our backs, everybody delineated. Oh, you ain't looking for me. I'm Jamaican. He over there in Niggerville. You ain't looking for me. I'm Haitian. He over there in Niggerville. Now, you're right. Police kill everybody. Hell, they kill white people, too. I know a lot of people don't want to believe that. But they kill white people, too.
Me personally, I don't care if they kill white people. You know what I'm saying? That's them. Look at the LAPD.
I'm just saying, no, I agree with you on that. Everybody gets mistreated. But I can tell you that when it comes time to stand for our rights, you've ever heard the term, ain't no justice, is just us? It's
Yes,
just
sir.
super
And also,
accurate.
too, I remember the saying, man, in 1992, no justice, no peace. I was in Los Angeles when that shit went down.
No,
but the thing
nobody
is,
came to
though,
our
is what
aid
I'm...
during that riot. Who came to, who defended those right when those people took to the streets in Los Angeles and said the injustice must stop? Wasn't nobody standing with us. They was against us. No, maybe
yes, sir.
maybe the
And then they even...
Latinos, maybe the essays in the hood, maybe they was. I don't even know.
Okay, but also too, Kev, what they did with Rodney King, they put that nigga up there, man, talking about, man, can we just all get along? And motherfucker, you just got hit upside the goddamn head 64 fucking times, man. So there's something probably wrong with your brain function. You see what I mean? And now here's the cold part, Kevin, that I'll meet you halfway on, is that everybody protested. That black folks, the Latinos, or even white folks from the San Fernando Valley, man, that came out there, man, and a young white woman with her daughter from Granada Hills, which is a Ritchie area, came all the way down here to Parker Center. Well, I brought my daughter out here because this here is totally wrong. Damn news, man. What the fuck you mean how that was just? You see what I mean? But keep in mind, as y'all know, and I'm going to say this here, man, and I'm going to let you go because I know you're busy. The police are policy enforcers. They're not law enforcement officials. The police, okay, evolved from the slave catchers. So therefore, man, if you and I are slaves down there, man, in Mississippi, and we say, hey, man, let's go out here to California, man, to go get some of this motherfucking gold they found up there in Sutter's Mill, the slave catchers will come up there, get our black asses, man, and walk us all the way back to the plantation system, and then Lord knows what's going to happen to us. Yeah, saying this is what I was arguing with a cat about the Dred Scott case about and what happened. But nah, I just wanted to drop that out there, Kev, man. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you all. Let me come on there, man. So I'm gonna look at the rest of your episode that you got up here right now.
No doubt. Like I said, I don't understand. You haven't said anything that's inaccurate, but I don't understand what it has to do with the price of tea in China in terms of us delineating and identifying ourselves and saying we need to build out some sort of solidarity. And that comes with identifying who should be included. And so if we look around and say, hey, the descendants of the slaves, I know my people. My mother, my great grandparents were slaves. Right. That's how real it is in my family. So, you know, my great grandfather was a slave. So so I'm not that far removed. So when I say, well, how do we identify? Just like I put up on TikTok on who actually should get a reparation check. If your family if you are not a descendant of an American slave, you get no bread. You get no bread. Why should you? That's like me saying everybody who got gonorrhea get a check, and somebody who don't got gonorrhea try to get a check. You don't get no check. You don't got gonorrhea. I hate to put it like that. I couldn't think of nothing else but gonorrhea. I don't know why that word popped in my head, but
but the point is though is this here, Kev. Is this here, you know, is where we slightly disagree agreeably. You see what I'm saying? And then the fact and the reparations not just for the slavery, but it's also for the Jim Crowism, then also to the lynchings, man, like what they did to Emmett Till and stuff like that, who was from Chi-Town. You see, then also
that was
to
all
man.
Us, though. That was us.
Huh?
That was us. That was once again, that's FBA who suffered these injustices. So how does it become divisive? And let's because Tariq Nasheed, like I said, first of all, I'm nobody's groupie, and I don't watch Tariq Nasheed you know,
right. I don't watch him either.
I know he pushes the FBA agenda, which I don't have a problem with if he's commoditized it. I know he has a museum that he's trying to keep funded. So if
I saw the museum. I saw the museum in Los Angeles recently.
So if that's his revenue stream for that or whatever, I mean, if he's gonna get money off, so I'm about to start selling Outlaw Radio apparel again. So if somebody buy a t-shirt,
all right, well, give me a call and let's make a deal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't see when I kept watching people on your post saying, oh, it's so divisive, oh, them dumbass niggas, and they control by this, and they Tariq Nasheed groupies and all this. I'm like, who the fuck is they talking about? Certainly not us. Certainly not myself. Certainly not none of the black people that I rock with. I know people who identify as FBA who don't even know who Tariq Nasheed is.
Yeah, but he's mainly known out here in the West, Kev. You know what I'm saying? Because he's based up out of Los Angeles. But like I said,
it's cool. I've watched his shows. I'm fully aware of him. He had a consistent major voice in the Podverse for years. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying nobody can explain to me why it's divisive. How is it divisive?
But like I said, it's because like I said, and I tried to tell Jesse this, and here's when we started falling out. Okay, I was in Starbucks up in the Bay Area, right? Birthplace of the Black Panther Party. So there was a sister there from the continent, you know what I'm saying? And she told me she was from Sierra Leone. So I asked her if she was Fulani or Ashanti. She says that she was Ashanti. And she says, if I was Fulani, I would look just like you. I says, that's interesting. And then when I see the white raping, slave trading, pedophiles, descendants, oh man, you're one of them damn black guys and all that. Yeah, that I am. So therefore, man, like I said, them motherfuckers were not relatives. We was their goddamn property. The raping, slave trading, pedophile like Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and the rest of them motherfuckers, you know, they'll sit up there and sell, quote unquote, their own kids for a profit. Look at Chicken George. Now, Liberia. Okay, glad you brought up Liberia. Monrovia is named after James Monroe, you know, who was one of the presidents, right? Now, the reason why these crackers was talking about getting rid of a whole lot of these Negroes, man, is because they were saying it's just a matter of time where these individuals are going to stop getting knocked upside the head, and they might do some more of that Nat Turner type of shit. You see what I'm saying? Just like, why do you think the Black Panthers came into existence? Point number 7. We wanted to meet it in to the murder and killings of unarmed black people and the police. Policy enforcers. The only duly elected law enforcement official you will have is the sheriff. And just like when y'all had that sick motherfucker back there, what was his name? Clark, I think. Sheriff Clark or whatever. That motherfucker was a disgrace. But anyway, Kev, I'm going to go and let you go, and I'm going to check out the rest of your show, man. And I appreciate you letting me come on.
It's all good. I just didn't know. I'm like, Shabaka don't like us no more. He ain't fucking with us no more.
No. I still fucks with y'all. I still fucks with y'all. Oh, you hang up. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, he stopped letting me comment. He stopped letting me comment on the post. Everybody was commenting. I couldn't even reply on there.
Hold on. Kamar said he was blocked.
He was blocked.
Yeah, he said he was blocked.
I can't comment. Everybody commenting on my comment on the post, on that post, man. I can't even go back and defend myself. You stop letting me comment.
Man, you can comment up there, man. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm getting hit with all this spam, man. So what I'm going to do, come on, I'm going to go back to the page, okay? Because believe it or not, that thread is still busy as hell. And I'm going to double check to see if you was blocked, and you shouldn't be. But if you are, I'm going to unblock you. So I'll be doing that there in the next 5 minutes, man. So I'm going to check out the playback on you guys right here. Because for some odd reason, man, my name getting dragged all through the goddamn mud out here, man. But it's all good.
Before you get off, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you said that the post now let me ask you this question because it's going to be a long question. So I want you to interrupt me, please. It's not going to be that long, but it's
you have to write a book.
Come on.
So you said the police. So you said the police are policy enforcers, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
When Kamala Harris was the district attorney or the attorney general of California, what was she?
Kamala Harris.
Hold on, because you know the attorney general don't pass laws. Laws get passed through, politicians and the Senate and things like that.
Yeah, right, at the state level.
Yeah. So what was she then? It's one simple question.
Okay, she was the chief law enforcement officer of California. Glad you brought it up.
So
look at
Mario enforcer, correct?
Okay, yeah, she was the chief law enforcement officer of the state. Now, the thing is, look at that case of Mario Woods, man, because I still got the clip out of the San Francisco Chronicle about it, and look at the case of Ezel Ford down there in Los Angeles, and Ezel Ford was a deaf man. The lapdogs handcuffed him, and then you could see the lapdog kill his partner. Hey, man, go put a bullet in his back, and he went and executed the brother on the spot. Man, that's special goddamn circumstance, man. Plus, he was bound. You see what I mean? So Kamala Harris wasn't shit, and I'm saying it out there publicly, and her raggedy ass is welcome to give me a call, too.
She was a policy enforcer, though, correct?
Yes, sir. She was the attorney general. Okay, she used to be the district attorney of San Francisco County when Willie Brown was fucking her. Then she became the attorney general of California. Then after that, she became the U.S. senators because one of the U.S. senators from California died, and she took up the rest of her time. I think it was Barbara Boxer. Then Joe Biden selected her to be the vice president. You see what I'm saying? And then don't nobody, as we already know, Kamar, don't nobody wash no goddamn greens in no motherfucking bathtub.
But she still was a policy enforcer, though.
No, yes, sir. Yeah, no, what she does is she's supposed to enforce the law. The chief law enforcement officer of the state, plus she defends the state when it's brought up on criminal charges. You see what I'm saying? So all them goddamn crooked-ass politicians in California could kiss my ass. You know, that's why I moved to Nevada. Fuck the goddamn state of California. You know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking from experience, man, living there, you know.
All right, all right, man. Well, peace out, man. Thanks for coming through, Shabaka.
All right, thank you for having me. Okay, come on, I'm gonna go up here and see what happened, man, and then what I'm gonna do, man. If you block, then I'm gonna unblock you, and then we could have some more dialogue on it because that goddamn thread, that motherfucker's taking off, man. I ain't had that many hits, man, in about 6 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, you got what you wanted. You got what you wanted. All right, be careful what you wish.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Nah, I gotta make sure, man. I got my weapons with me, man. You know, so motherfuckers won't.
That's because you're post.
Man, you that goddamn Shabaka. Nigga, we got to kill you. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that post is going crazy because you're going against just about every black person in America.
Well, except for the black people who are on there who are agreeing.
Right.
That they don't like
there are some people. There are some people who feel the same.
Yeah, that's what that post reflected. It's a
Hey
great.
man, do me a favor, keep sharing that motherfucker. I might can flip it into some money.
It's all about.
All right.
All right, Shabaka. All right.
It's time to start looking at social media different, man. This is a whole stream of income if we can figure it out.
I'm already dipping my
toe.
Man,
there's all kind of hate mail coming across that motherfucker, particularly from crackers, and I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I tell the motherfuckers go back to the caves, wash their nasty, funky asses. They didn't believe in bathing. You know? And this is Shabaka saying, Corey, and I appreciate the Outlaws allowing me to express myself, and I approved of the motherfucking messages, you know? All right, come on. All right, Kev, so I'll give you a call, Kev, you know, in a couple of days, man.
Holla at me.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Talk to y'all soon. Okay.
Now, next up, y'all, and so there's another conversation, and you know, like you said, that Kamar said, this social media shit get hot, and some more controversial news came in terms of Trump, saying that if you have student loans and they're in default, that they're going to move forward with collections against you. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about student loans for a second. I'm going to talk about education for a second, but I also want to say the number one thing that they tell you when you take out a student loan, you have to do a promissory note. You have to actually go through some counseling. Defaulting on that loan is the worst thing you can do. They say this to you because it does involve garnishment. And it does involve, hey, we're going to start taking our payments now. And you're instructed, actually, even if you are if you have defaulted, there's a set of instructions where they'll say, okay, call this number, talk to these people, get this taken care of, because it can be very detrimental. And that's not new. It's hyped up because I've seen a lot of people who want to take shots at people who are educated, who are college educated. So I'm talking to all you haters who always want to talk down on somebody who has a degree. Someone who went to school, and if they took out a loan, because really what it is it's an investment in yourself. And if you say, I want to, it doesn't guarantee me anything if I get a degree, but I want to improve my chances. And also some of us really love learning. Some of us appreciate going somewhere where it's higher education, right? Some of us pursued higher degrees because we said, this is transformative for my brain and the way I think. Right. This helps my thinking patterns. And throughout my doctorate studies, I learned so much more about research and removing bias and understanding information and decoding. And I thought I was a pretty smart dude. I was like, I got a master's degree. I'm smart. My point is that to go and educate yourself has always and will always be a great thing. It has never been a guarantee of financial success. It can be if you play it right. But I saw these posts saying, "Oh, you motherfuckers who got degrees, oh, that's what your ass getting. Oh, you went and you borrowed $100,000 to make $60,000 a year." Well, first of all, let me tell you, if you make $60,000 a year, depending on where you live, you're all right with me because you're gonna be able to take care of yourself at least minimally. And it's nothing to shake a stick at. 70,000, 80,000. Even if you make 150, you're still not rich by white man's terms. By American terms, Trump ain't fucking with you. You small change. So I just feel like Kamar always says, black people always find a way to go at each other. And it's like some people use their degrees to look down on other people. Maybe they are. But you don't even hardly hear me talk about mine because it's not something that would enable me to talk down on someone. We just talked about this the other night on the show, Kamar. When I said there's a difference between somebody straight up insulting you and talking down to you, right? So if I say, oh, yo, dumbass, I'm insulting you. But if I say you ain't got no education, you uneducated son of a bitch, I'm talking down to you. It's an insult, none the same, but I'm talking down to you. I would tell anybody who has a college degree, it doesn't make you better than anyone. Matter of fact, some of the dumbest people I know have college degrees. That's just the truth. Now, you make a decision like this. Okay, my choice is let me stay in the hood and continue going down the path of this cycle and generational poverty that I've seen for the last 50 years in my family, or let me take a chance on myself and broaden my horizons. Now, we don't have the money. We're not blue bloods. So they say, well, if you want to go, you're going to have to borrow it. Now, you say, fuck that. I don't want no debt. But you'll take out a 30-year loan on a house. You'll max 5 credit cards out and be $25,000 in debt for a credit card. You'll go buy a car. And a lot of times when you go buy a car, if you don't understand interest rates, you end up with a fucking car note that's got a 35% interest rate on it. And you wonder why it's taking me so long to pay for this car. But if it comes to, I'm going to take out a loan so I can go and get me a degree and maybe take advantage of some opportunity, you won't do it. I'm just saying, I feel like, once again, Kamar says, there's always somebody looking for something to go at you about. Oh, this motherfucker think he's smart because he went to
don't nobody look for stuff to agree on.
Right.
We look for stuff to argue about. We look for stuff that's wrong with other people.
Well, we like to quote Malcolm X, but isn't he the one who said education is the passport to the future? I thought he said something in regards to that. They ain't quoting that. You know what I'm saying? I just like when did getting educated, and I think that's why we have a 50% truancy rate in MPS right now, because not enough of us stress the importance to our young people about getting an education. It's not just about a liberal arts Marquette UWM degree. Take your ass to MATC and pick up one of them trades down there. That's education.
Yeah,
I think everything promote stupidity, being dumb. Everything promote that. Like, look at the music, the rap game now. Like, the dumber you sound, the cooler you are. You know what I mean? The more they promote you. The reality shows.
That's what I was talking about with that false
how they get at the reality. I mean, the reality shows. They be ratchet as a motherfucker. You got to be, you know what I mean? Like, they promote that shit. So but people think it's cool. It's cool to be dumb. It's cool to be ratchet.
I let them be them though, Kamar. Like if that's what you want. So then why they won't let me? Why they won't let me be me?
Right.
I don't bother you. Why you bother me? I'm just saying, like, you don't like educated people. But it's social media, and I got to be careful not to get too, worked up, because some people put shit on social media for attention, and we give it to them. We give it to them. They have 300 comments. That's all they wanted anyways. I knew I was going to piss them motherfuckers off. It's a flex for them. So, but
especially on white people. But they always been upset about people. I don't think it's so much about even with us educating ourselves. They was upset about education, period. Because I remember when Scott Walker was going around, when he was an officer, he was cutting a lot of the professors' salary at UWM, and people was like, yeah, they shouldn't be getting paid all that money. And I'm like, damn, well, why they should? They trying to educate the youth of the future, and they shouldn't be getting paid. So, like, man, listen, that shit, them Republicans got a fucked up way of thinking, man. And I can't even really just say it's Republicans, but a lot of people, for some reason, because that was one of the things, because they feel like the more educated a person is, the more liberal they is. And that's not necessarily true, because we see a lot of these conservative motherfuckers that's educated, you know what I'm saying, and they ignorant as a motherfucker, but for some reason,
the argument is always,
they are against that.
You don't need no degree to get money. And I don't think that anybody ever said you had to have a degree to get money. We know there's people who had little to no education who worked their ass off and hustled. They grinded to the bone to get their money, and they got it, and that's fine. It's just the 100% rule. The 100% rule means nothing is 100% true about nothing. You can say anything about a group of people. You can't say all black people fill in the blank, all white people fill in it. You can't say that. So when it comes to surviving and who gets money and who doesn't, sometimes it is the dude who got a master's degree or a PhD who ends up doing well, and the dude who didn't graduate from high school be in front of the gas station begging. Sometimes it's the dude who dropped out of high school who becomes a multimillionaire. There's this,
but it's also too, I be looking at, a lot of people, I think it just came from a lot of people going to school for certain things, and you didn't get a job in that field.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, I talk bad about people like, damn, you went and did all that schooling and you ain't even got a fucking job in that field. Like, what the fuck was the purpose of it? You know what I'm saying?
Most people who go to college don't end up working in the field they study. But here's the reason why. Because you make that decision when you 18 years old, what you gonna major in. Who said by the time you get 35, or even when you graduate, if you 24, 25, you might want to do something else. I mean, you listen, you get a college degree, the first thing you figure out is, first of all, I have to get a job, not a certain job, a job, period. And you go from there. There are some people who say, no, this is a passion of mine. Look, my bachelor's degree is in speech communication, radio, and television. I don't work for V100. Did that mean I wasted my time getting a degree? No, it's what I wanted to study. It's what I always wanted to do growing up. I had a family, so I wasn't going to hold out for no radio job. I wouldn't find a way to get money otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So it don't make you a loser. All you went to school for education and you ain't even no teacher. It's like, okay, well, does he have a job, period? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think people they look at things the wrong way. That's all. I'm sorry. I'm biased on this, obviously, because I spent a long time going to school, but it was never because I felt like this was, I'm just gonna make me better than somebody else. The pursuit of knowledge to me was always great. Like, man, I like knowing things. I like saying, and it taught me a lot of critical skills and structure that I can apply at any job. I'm prepared. I went to school with I went to I say HWCU, historically white college or university. They're called PWIs now. But guess what? I didn't go to a black college, but I was under no illusions when I started dealing with the workforce because it was all white. I already understood their language. I already knew how they moved. So I was that much more informed. I wasn't saying, where are the black people at? It's it's pros and cons. In the chat room, I had asked about Carmelo Anthony's family. Earl Henning said the family been getting death threats. They had to put them in hiding. Oh, they are in Texas, right? Erica Hunt, how you doing, Erica? She said, what up, Outlaws? What up with you? Latasha Coop says she need the merch. You all will see we're for the summer, we're going to bring the Outlaw Radio t-shirts. I don't think we've ever done t-shirts. We always do hoodies. We're going to do some t-shirts and give you an ability to customize it and put your name on it. And we got some redesigns on the logo and stuff like that. It's all coming down the pipe. You all will start to see it. You'll start to see me kind of showing like, hey, order your Outlaw Radio t-shirts and that kind of thing. So shout out to Coop. She always supports the apparel. So she said, I need the merch. You know, it'll be in your hand as soon as I can get it. And it won't be no year-long delays this time, y'all, I promise. Because the boss lady's in charge. She don't play that shit. So you gonna get your shit quick in a nice package. I just fold your shit up and put it in the Aldi bag. Like, here go your shirt. She don't play that shit. He said, Shabaka said he put a friend request in to join you. So you can go on there. You should be able to go on there and comment. Now, did y'all see this Shannon Sharp thing? Like, this shit is crazy, right? Like, 50 million. Like, man, sex is weaponized. Come on, like it is.
Hey,
man,
I heard he offered 10.
He offered 10. He offered 10.
I heard.
They said he was on the verge of getting a $100 million kind of deal. So that 10 wouldn't have been nothing just to keep it smooth, but cat's out the bag, nigga.
I heard. I don't know how true.
Well, people saying this is controversial because he's 50 something and this young lady was 20. He said, "What you messing with a young girl like that for?" Go ahead, Kamar.
I thought he was gay.
A lot of people did. A lot of people have been saying that. That's been.
I never seen him with a girl.
Well, you see him with her. Well, we didn't see him with her, right? I guess
saw him with her.
Remember, he leaked his I guess alleged when he was with his woman on Instagram Live, and he was in the background, and we knew that was him trying to say, "Hey, man, ain't nobody gay because it takes too much to go live on Instagram." It's like it was an accident. Yeah, right. But I look at it like, here's a brother. You said you never seen him with a woman. I've never seen him with a sister. Here's a brother who, and there's a lot of brothers in this country who have money, who cater to us. They are part of our black, galaxy, universe, or whatever, and they refuse. It's like Jamie Foxx. You've never seen Jamie Foxx with a black woman, but yet when his movies or his music comes out, who is it marketed to?
Hey, on this special, he made a joke about that.
Right. He said, yeah, I'm about to stop messing with white women. It was like, oh no, you lying. We'll know your ass a clone if you stop doing that, right? But I just say, Shannon, you telling me there ain't no fine sisters that's about 35, 37 real sisters who getting a issue in life that see the chase of that, what Iceberg Slim used to call the alabaster super cunt. The chase of that. The thirsty.
Hey, you remember on this show when Monique was on there? Monique told him to leave them young girls alone.
She sure did. She said, "You can't do this, Shannon. You can't keep up with these young girls." Monique, I know, I got it. I know exactly what I'm doing.
She said, "You need a 60-something, 63-year-old woman that know how to cook turkey legs."
Just her attorney.
I don't feel sorry for him though.
You said I don't feel sorry for him either. I just think it's a shame.
I don't feel sorry for none of them.
He did that
but
shit.
Then also, I look at it too. I don't know. Maybe I'm being biased in the situation. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like in they circle, you know what I'm saying? The circle of success, what they be in. That's like damn almost who in their circle. Not saying it ain't no black successful women in their circle, but look what we were talking about Monday with what's her name? The Diana Ross daughter. You know what I'm saying? Black successful. You know what I'm saying? So even when you do be in that circle with the black successful women, they looking at you like, I don't want to fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? You ain't submitting to me and tuck your legs between your legs, tuck your dick between your legs and let me be the man and you be the woman. You know what I'm saying? So then you find the white girls is really, or the white women that's into them and they submissive and, make them feel like they men and stuff like that. So, and then that's just like, it was something on the, what's saying about Patrick Mahomes. And I was like, soon as that white bitch came up there, just like how Nicole Simpson came up there with OJ, y'all turned against him. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, the world probably believe that white bitch, you know what I'm saying? Because they already feel like we hypersexualized, you know what I'm saying? And this, that, and the other shit. With the shit going on at Rooster King, not to change the subject, I'm just doing a comparison. It seems like white women are the ones that's hypersexualized. So I don't really feel sorry for Shannon Sharp or nobody in this motherfucking situation because you should have fucked with a sister. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the lawyer, Tony Busby, who is the one who tried to go after Jay-Z, and I believe he was trying to go after Puffy, he is now the name, the go-to guy to try and, get these cases against a celebrity. And then there's text messages, and allegedly they have a sex tape and all this kind of stuff. And dude said he was gonna choke the shit out of her, and then she sent text time she gonna put her tongue in his butt. And it's just it's what my point is, that even if you're proven to be not guilty, right? So say you're exonerated, the accusation is enough to damage your reputation. And
Hell
so
yeah.
just the fact that your personal life has been kind of like these texts are between him and her, and she like, yeah, $25,000 a cheek, and you know, I know you can't wait to get between these cheeks and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, you have to have a control mechanism, especially when you get that much money and that much fame. So you have to have some mechanism in place, or you're gonna fall victim to this. And so now he's gonna be basically, his reputation will be damaged. Even if because even if he's exonerated, like I said, you're gonna still have women who are gonna be like, I don't care. He still is a misogynist. Like, they're gonna say, like you just said, this is what Tracy Ellis Ross was talking about with men her age. But you can't take what one dude who makes X amount of millions of dollars a year and blame all the rest of us and say we're gonna do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's stupid. It's stupid, and it's divisive. You talk about divisive. Now that's what's divisive. You know what I'm saying?
One thing I pride myself on, Kev, is learning from other people's mistakes.
That's right.
And I feel enough of those, like even with R. Kelly. Nigga, you beat the first one. You should have never got no more young pussy again in your life. And if that's what you like, you could have went overseas and got all the young pussy that you wanted to. If that's what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's so many celebrities that we've seen the downfall of this ass. Ain't nobody learned yet. Even with the Me Too movement. What was the one Weinstein motherfucker, not Jeffrey Epstein, but the old motherfucker, they locked him up, and you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, y'all. Ain't nobody learned from the Me Too movement. Leave these bitches alone. Go on and buy you some pussy. You got enough money to go on and buy you some pussy. Be discreet about it. Sign a non-disclosure. You know what I'm saying? And go on and get you some pussy or get you some butt from a man. Whatever you want to do.
I think
it's your choice.
I think this is a perfect example of what happens is when you get too far away from the real, because you play black, you talk to black people, you act black. But
I agree.
But you won't even date a black woman. You're exposed. You forget. You've lost yourself. See, this is what happens when we get away from each other. And just like that's why Tracy Ellis Ross is lost, because she's gotten away from us. She's biracial in the first place. You know what I mean? And her so she's part white, so she's conflicted. I'm pretty sure a strong black man who really can tell her, nah, baby, this is that's what she's gonna resist. Like, nah, I ain't, because she don't know. She doesn't know. She wasn't raised like a traditional foundational black American. Diana Ross was all overseas with white men and all kinds of stuff. And she was a model. And so, you know, it's people who, when you lose sight of who you are in terms of us, then you're gonna get lost. And I think this is another example of shame. That's why I don't feel sorry for him. Shabaka St. Cor said Hollywood shut down Monique. Steve Harvey refused to help her. Him and a bunch of other people. She's too loud, too black. Says Hollywood is very racist. They keep it hidden. Look at Billy Porter wearing dresses. Well, they just canceled. I seen this show that they had the transgender guy, and he's starring with George Wallace, I believe. And it was about a man's son who had gone off. He hadn't seen him, and he came back a woman. And they had this trans black dude on there. And I'm like, I can't watch this. And that shit got canceled. Nobody's watching that shit. Nobody's watching it.
Shit. I was like Marlon Wayans. I wanted to go see him this weekend, but he was like, he called his daughter's son now and all that. Like, don't embrace that goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't embrace that. Here go your trust fund. All right, daughter. See you later. You know what I'm saying? On the real.
Said, look what they did to Bill Cosby. Look how Paramount treated Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry or Bill Cosby, they got so much money. I don't. Tyler Perry's another one who I don't got to tell you I got no woman. I ain't got nothing to prove to you, bruh.
Tyler Perry got a child,
well, that means nothing. You know, we don't know if he had a surrogate.
Yeah, that's true.
Michael Jackson had kids that was white dude.
And they wasn't even his. Yeah, I don't even understand
Prince
that.
Jackson.
Like all that Hollywood shit too much. Like even with Kanye West with Kim Kardashian, she never carried any. And I wonder how do that work when you artificially inseminate somebody, because that person's DNA is still part of that child because they carrying it in their womb. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
even
I
though
don't know that when we're talking about a surrogate, the woman, the egg, it's her egg, it's your sperm, it's just put in a fertile womb. So it's not technically, well, if that baby was inside the woman, you tend to think that he had some DNA from her, right? Like, so
Yeah, hell yeah.
but that's a mix of 3 people, ain't it? I think that's
Yeah.
you don't know who the hell you is. I don't know who I am. He said all they got to do is drive down Ventura Boulevard. Said Tracy Ellis Ross was still qualified for the auction block. Look at a film called Imitation of Life. I seen Imitation of Life a long time ago. It's one of the saddest movies I've ever seen in my life. That's why I never watched it again. That shit, you ain't seen a sad movie until you see Imitation of Life, right? And really what it's about is a young black lady who can pass as white. And so she does to have a show business career, but her mom is like a maid, and she's obviously a foundational black American, but she loves her daughter, and her daughter basically shuns her because she doesn't want anybody to ever find out that she's really black. And then she was living this gilded life with this wealthy white man, and she had all this notoriety, and then she was discovered. And her husband was out. The world treated her like trash. And by the time she tried to go back to her mom died.
It was too late.
Yeah. So yeah, sad ass movie. I seen that shit. I was like, damn, this is like Cooley High. I refused to watch Cooley High. Once I found out what they do to Cochise at the end, I was like, I'm not watching this shit no more. Oh no. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Hey, listen, y'all. Sister who we had on the show, great conversation, great numbers on the show. My sister Aisha Carr. She was charged with misappropriation of campaign funds today. Now she's already up on felony charges because they said she lied about her residency, and that's a felony, which I guess you lie and under oath. And they said that there was welfare fraud. And now they're saying she misappropriated her campaign funds. She actually forged a document that allowed her to gain access to the funds. And this is a sister who was calling out MPS early, and then she quit. And then they said what they said at first, Kamar, she had threatened somebody in the office, or she bugged the office.
I thought she recorded, yeah. But she threatened to record them. She didn't actually do it, but she stated that she would do it.
Okay, so what is the deal with this? What is that? Now, I know some of my brothers who are really still entrenched in certain rooms will call me and say, Kim, I'm going to tell you the truth about what she did. And I see Miss Beverly has been ruthless. She's been standing on this sister's neck. I have extended the invitation for her to come back, but I did that when it was the campaign thing, and she said she was confident that she would be exonerated, and she didn't really want to talk about it because, it was legal shit involved. Once again, now we start to say, okay, what about transparency? Where's the transparency? Shabaka said she can he said she can use some of that money for her defense attorney. Is she gonna be incarcerated? Are they gonna really send this? And this is, I know, because we used to work for the Boys and Girls Club at the same time. She was a manager, I was a manager. I didn't know her personally, but I know she's been dedicated to helping children for a very long time. And then she was an MPS teacher. And so this is, man, how many charges can you beat, Kamar? I think this is sad, man. I hate to see any black person done like this, especially somebody who stood for something. But
this one of those situations where you wonder if she was on to something and then they buried her.
I agree with you.
That was my first thought, but then I seen, if you read what Miss Beverly actually put up, and I don't.
Yeah, I get it. That's what it sounded like. You know
right.
What I'm saying?
I didn't want to. I don't like. I'm not. This is not a tabloid. So
I don't know.
Stay away from gossip and right. We don't know.
Yeah, I had no clue.
We try to stay away from gossip and all that kind of stuff, and so you got to read Miss Beverly's post. I said, "Whoa, damn!" Talk about, it's if that's what your ass get was a person. It's like I said, damn, Miss Beverly, you cold-blooded. I just think it's sad. I hate to see any black person go through this, like that defamation. Especially if you ever took a stand for something, that kind of makes those who come behind you, it kind of makes people not trust you. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of, people say, see, this is why we don't rock with y'all, because all y'all corrupt. Nobody's leadership is respected. But hey, man, I hope she's exonerated. It would be beautiful. We seen for years they tried to do that to the brother Vaughn Mays, and he was eventually vindicated. And I'm hoping that she'll go through the same process, and that she. But if she's guilty, Kamar, you know what we say? If you a criminal, right?
Get her out of here.
Lock their ass up, right? So she really, and then look, they said, who's your campaign manager in the paperwork, and she put, I guess, TM or something. They didn't say this person's name. They said TM. This person said, no, hell no, I'm not her campaign finance director. I never gave her permission to you. Like, so they said she forged her name, which could bring other charges, couldn't it?
Man, they probably trying to throw that girl under the bus. Remember, they was like she didn't live in the district. Yeah. Just petty shit. You know what I'm saying? That's for being a whistleblower. But if she should have went all the way, pushed the pedal to the metal instead of going half the way. Because if she knew all the trouble that was gonna come with that shit, you know what I'm saying?
How far? I mean, didn't she push the? I don't know how far she pushed it. She made a statement. She held press conferences. She was on the news. She was all in the media. I would say she pressed it as far as it could go. Dion, I don't know, man. But
you're right.
If you sat your ass up there and signed and forged the paper, at least you could have hit TM and let them know what was going on. Whoever the fuck TM is, hey player, look. Hey man, I put your name on that paper, but check this out. I'm gonna let you get some of this bread too. Like I don't know. I'm not a criminal. I don't know how it works. Allegedly,
I don't think that girl forged nobody's signature. I'm real.
Like
who else was at the winning their campaign and they gave them probation? Who? It was another representative.
Oh man,
wasn't she an alderman or something?
Yeah, she stepped down though. No, she went done time. Was it Nakia Harris died?
They gave her probation.
Was it Nakia Harris died? Is that y'all? Let me know. I don't want to say the wrong person's name. I don't
know, but I know it was somebody here in Milwaukee. Was a lady.
Yeah, I thought that's why
she mismanaged her campaign for us.
I thought that's why Nick McVeigh went over there and got smacked up because he was. I remember he was over there protesting with all the black people, and the husband came out and smacked him. I'm sorry, Nick. Nick is cool people, man. Y'all handle Nick wrong, man. He felt so bad, man. He called me on the phone like, I'm just hurt because nobody defended me. I'm like, what you talking, man? When I'm outside that man's house. And then I guess everybody who was there with him, the people who called him there, said, okay, we're gonna go in the house and talk to the sister. I think she's the one, man, who got caught with campaign finance, Dion. I think she might be the one. I want to pull it up. I don't know if I have time. But yeah, man, I had to bring that up because I feel bad because we did have her on the show and I thought she made a lot of great points about wanting to change the MPS and the ineffectiveness of MPS. You know what I'm saying? So I thought it was pretty sad, man. But shout out to her, man. If she ever want to come on and wait, now I don't know. Did I have the wrong person? I think I might have had the wrong person, y'all. So I hope her husband don't come smack me up and shit. Really hope he don't come smack me up. Harris died she was on the Common Council to 2022. She'd been missing meetings, announced that she was resigning by the end of the month. She had, I guess she had medical problems. It doesn't say anything about legal. I can't remember. Chantel Lewis. Thank you, Mama Jenkins. Woo. Shit, I don't want this sister husband looking for me. Like, nigga, what you care about my wife, man? Because your ass get shot trying to slap me. I ain't Nick McVeigh, right? Chantel Lewis. Now, did she get probation, Mama Jenkins, or did she actually go? I thought she went to jail. I apologize. It was Chantel Lewis, y'all. I don't know why that name popped in my head.
Yeah, she got Chantel Lewis, y'all. She got probation for that shit.
Okay. So, but then you add on the welfare fraud and all that kind of stuff and lying to the under oath and that, like, they trying to put this sister away, man. They trying to put her away, man.
She's just going to cop out for some probation. That's all.
Yeah, she had to cop a plea. Ain't that what they say? Is that the right term? You got to cop, right? I don't know.
Never be able to run for political office again.
Okay. Mama Jenkins said she was home on home arrest. Okay, she was on house arrest. Okay. So maybe this sister will get, because sometimes, shit get to moving fast for you when you out here and your name is ringing and cameras is in your face and but there's all kinds of backdoor deals made. That's the issue with black people who are elected officials. A lot of times they get compromised because they have these backroom deals, and they trying to think they building a power circle, but as soon as the pressure get applied, motherfuckers go to singing. Shit, wasn't me, right? And so, how many of our public officials have been raked across the grills, across the coals over the last few years for some sort of corruption, right? Like I don't. It's crazy. It's crazy. Mama Jenkins said, "Call a spade a spade." I know how Miss Beverly feel about it because she shows ruthless on Facebook. I said, "Shit, I didn't even." If she put it in this People's News Network, I don't know, but she was vicious about it. Kamar, what you got coming up this weekend, man?
Same old same, man. Summer Phoenix House of Vitality is going down, y'all. Y'all better get y'all ass up there.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping this weather continues to go in the direction it's going, because I will be able to get out and enjoy some good RC action in my yard. Maybe even take a ride somewhere. I'm eagerly anticipating my son coming home for the summer. He don't know yet, but he about to be on a lot of RC and fishing missions with me all summer. I'm not leaving you no choice. No, you coming with me. Come on, Dad. I won't have an issue because he like that shit too. But I'm hoping, man, that this weather continues. Kamar, I don't mind the cold. I don't mind the winter because I'm from here. I'm a black Eskimo. But then you get to the point where okay, it's time for some sunshine, man. Some vitamin D. No Diddy. Dion, you on the road this weekend, or you just chilling with your
No, I think I'm gonna stay here in Milwaukee this weekend. I ain't sure.
Okay.
I ain't sure yet though. If I do, if she want to spend some time with her little niece, or if I do slide, it might be on a Sunday. Just slide down there, hang out for a little while, and come back. Then maybe not. Just chill up here in Milwaukee. Cause shit, like I said, I be getting up extra butt early, and it's the shit. I need to go to the dump. You know what I'm saying? I need to go to the city dump. I need to go take some stuff out of my basement. My old snake cage and stuff, take it out of there, throw some shit out the garage, so yeah, that's all I plan on doing, man. You know what I'm saying? So shit. But I ain't gonna hold you guys too much longer, man. I love you niggas, man. You niggas stay up. You know what I'm saying? Shit, until Monday, if anything pop off, I'm always gonna share it in the People's News Network.
Yes. Or send it to my phone.
Yeah. Most likely, I'm probably gonna try to get down there to the House of Vitality, just sit down there and chop it up with Bull, because sometimes I like the camaraderie we have with one another, when we just sit back and agree to disagree and shit, and lust over some of the women down there and be thirsty and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't think I don't think Bull gonna be lusting with you.
No, he ain't gonna be lusting, but I'm gonna be lusting. I'm gonna be thirsty, and that, hopefully,
Hey, you can't see Bull. He in the background,
No, cut the show, man. Cut the show.
I'm gonna be thirsty. Y'all already know me. So that's about it, though. But like I said, I love you niggas, man. Love the Outlaw family, man. We stay up, man, and hopefully, we gonna continue. We got how many more months of this shit we got with this crazy motherfucker?
We got
what I'm saying? So yeah, it is what it is. It's like everybody said, ain't nothing we ain't ever went through before, and we gonna deal with it.
Right.
So to then, I'm gonna holler at y'all, and we'll talk Monday. If God will.
That's what's up. That's funny.
I love, bro.
All right. Kamar was like, no.
Hang up, Kev. Hang up.
Shit's funny. Hey man, listen. If you hear us talk about how much we love being black, if you hear us talking about the importance of us achieving solidarity, and you start to say, it sounds like, these dudes really love themselves and their people. Well, it's because we do. And by me loving who we are and loving my people does not mean that I hate anyone else. As a matter of fact, if you don't love my people as much as I do, I don't hate you, right? But I want you to know where I stand. So when it comes to delineation, and it comes to foundational Black Americans, and it comes to all these arguments about who, what it is, where it come from, and this map, and Dr. Fawiki Mugange, and all this kind of shit, I really don't care. I really don't care. I could give a shit less. I love being a Black man. I am a person who gives a lot of credit to those who came before us for the struggle that they endured to get us to this point. Even though some of you might not think we have made any advancements, or I will argue until the day I die that we have made some progress. But what we got to do is get back to the solidarity that we had when we made that progress. If we've lost anything, that's what we've lost. We don't value each other as much as we used to, because the truth is the boot ain't necessarily visible in everybody's ass. Some of us got the boot in our ass, but we don't know it's there. Back in the days, you knew. Didn't matter who you was, you knew that boot was there. So we was unified around that point to a certain degree. The most important thing is that you love yourself, though. And like I say, the greatest thing you could do is be the change that you want to see. As a father, if you're frustrated with deadbeat dads, be a great dad to your own children. As a parent, if you're frustrated with the lack of education that young Black children are getting, educate your own children. Right? If you're frustrated with the state of the neighborhood you live in, invest in your neighborhood, clean up around your house. That's the best thing you can do. It's got to be more action than lip wrestling, as they call it. Because if that's what it comes down to, that ultimately means your criticism of the community outweighs your contribution to it. And that's counterproductive as well as coonish. And so I will see y'all Monday, man. Peace and love. Go check out that TikTok page. I'm loving TikTok. TikTok is popping hard for us. The people's network. Shout out to everybody who's on there, man. I be getting a little hype about it. Like, oh man, I'm a star. I feel like Uncle Baby Billy. Like I'm a big time internet star.
Well, you know, it's dope. It's dope to be able to get your word across.
Yeah.
To more people. That's receptive of what you're trying to say too. You know what I mean? They got something to say for it or something to say against it.
Either way.
You know what I mean? And then the interaction, the notoriety is dope. You know what I mean? Because like I say, we got messages we trying to push out here.
And it's beautiful now that I have found a way to do the clips. Right. Because the clips are, I'm like, that was classic. I'm be looking at the clips like, oh my God, that was dope. And
right.
So,
hey, drop them on YouTube too, like that. YouTube, yeah. They got shorts where, you know what I mean, they pump them out like draw people back to the YouTube page.
I'm gonna have to do that. I have not incorporated YouTube to it yet. I'm new,
all
man.
All the videos you're doing on TikTok, put them on YouTube, put them on Facebook.
Okay, they're on Facebook.
Everything you got, put those shorts on.
They're on Facebook. I got to get YouTube involved, but that's my next step. I'm just to this point, man. I'm an old caveman. I had to, man. You guys, it's a learning curve to this shit.
Hey, I bet you we wind up with a lot of viewers on YouTube. You start putting them on YouTube.
I'm gonna feed it. We're gonna see. We're gonna walk this dog tomorrow.
Look,
we're gonna see if it bites.
Bet that. The motherfucking shorts. Hey, them shorts, they get pushed out more on YouTube.
Okay.
Than the videos do. Like I got a whole bunch of like 1,000 view videos. Remember I was telling you about the one I had where it was like 20-something thousand.
You know on your page. I seen it. I said, damn.
Shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? YouTube push your shit out. The shorts.
All right, man. In the meantime and in between time, man, y'all be safe. Peace and love.
Peace.